out for 8 hours, you know, like I'm ratioing you with my 1600, you know, or 1700, whatever fuck I'm at right now. And it's just shit like that, right? But the thing that like struck out to me, right, was what was you remember when Netanyahu was having that meeting with all of
Oh
the
yeah.
like people where they were talking about the $7,000 tweets and the new
Mhm.
welfare? He asks a question to all of the people there, and he goes, what is the most important thing to purchase like right now? And he was expecting them to get the right answer, which was TikTok. But if
Mhm.
you listen closely and you replay it a couple times, you can hear a majority of everyone at that table immediately says buying bots.
Mhm.
And it's like, why would they all say that the most important thing right now is to buy bots? Because they're all buying bots and funding people. And every time they find some new person that they want to fucking astroturf somewhere that like works for Chorus Media or works for Israel or works for, you know, some Republican thing or whatever, like some media group supports them, they're botting the fuck out of their channel, even if the viewer themselves doesn't even know it.
Keeps the smart
So
people distracted chasing views.
I literally, so I haven't had a chance to personally look at this article. I was just watching a video about this article, literally like just before I started stream, right? So I didn't get a chance to go through it. But Haaretz just dropped a investigation. In fact, I'll
Is
send
that
you.
like the one that came out like a month or two ago or whatever?
No, this is brand new. This is
Hot
November
off the
10th.
press.
Okay.
Um,
Right. Fair enough. Yeah.
and yeah. And I'll put the archive link in here as well because they got a paywall. But take a look. It's talking about like how they're going to be targeting the Republican base. Israel's pouring millions of dollars. They're targeting evangelicals. That like apparently again I'm told what's in the article. I haven't had a chance to read it yet. But that like they're hiring bot armies. Right. That's part of the strategy. They're talking about like literally doing like geofencing around churches all around America and like having surveillance and watching who goes in, who goes out. So like individual targeting, not like for assassination or anything, but like because they like to do that.
For
Like
now.
individual for now, right? But like individual targeting to evangelicals specifically. To get them on board because I mean they've lost it. I mean because of the genocide, the slaughter that's been happening, right?
I'm sorry, like I'm a preacher, and like since the publishing of the Schofield Reference Bible, most American evangelicals have been on board with the Israel cause. I mean, that's just like I don't know what more work they need to do. Most evangelicals are very
they're losing the young.
dispensationalist.
They're losing the young, right? Like you have like the older individuals, maybe that's the case, right? But young individuals, they're lost. They're losing them, right? Even Republicans,
Well, so
even
it's
Republicans.
this.
What you
It's this.
find is
Look,
they do stray,
so
but quite a few of them do eventually come back.
well, so Kaylee, right? Like, I don't necessarily disagree with you. Schofield Bible shit aside, I don't want to get into that, right? But I mostly don't disagree with you that the evangelical base has been staunchly pro-Israel for many, many years. But here's the problem: Gen Z is the first generation since the Second Great Awakening to have higher church attendance than their parents, and this is driven by by essentially two groups, right? You have young men that are going to church despite the fact that their millennial or Gen X parents did not take them to church, and many of those young men are going to Catholic or especially Orthodox churches, right? They're going to more traditional conservative churches, and then
Yep.
right, and then you have a lot of young women, right, that are dissatisfied with the lies that feminism has told them and dissatisfied with the current dating market, right? That are trying to like go to church to meet people, but also they don't want to be preached down to. So they end up in, cafeteria religion churches, like non-denominational, utilitarian,
Methodists.
sure, right. And so you have this split where they are going to church, but they're going to different churches.
Oh yes.
And then what I think is happening is I think that I don't think you're seeing a large surge into evangelical churches. I think you're seeing a bit of a diaspora. And even if it is, it's predominantly women going to those places. And on top of that, the young men aren't
win in the end.
Well, hold on.
Right. But I'm just saying, like, the young men are not going to be pro-Israel, especially when they're going to Orthodox churches and they're ortho bros. And the young women, I think that the young women that are going to these churches that aren't like, they're not devout Christians. They're doing it as like a social thing to like be with the new turning tide. And part of that pull of the new social thing is being against Israel. Like the young generation social pull is against Israel. So I think they are losing that as the newer generation comes in, because these newer generation of church attendees, none of them are pro-Israel. Well, very few of them are.
Strict covenant theology.
I want to jump in on that a little bit. So I've noticed with the Southern Baptists, right? Like specifically, their membership has gone down over the last several years. However, their average attendance has increased by 5%, like clockwork, the last 4 years, which is
they're botting. They're botting for sure.
Yeah, they're botting. No, I mean, I think it is.
Come full circle, Corey.
I think it. Yeah, it was solid. I think that what Fabian's saying does have some merit to it. Like I would consider the Southern Baptist being more of a traditional, like probably like conservative church.
I'm talking about two extremes, right? Sure, like because they're all going to church higher, and some are going.
No, hear me out.
You know, like there's a Venn diagram here.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I feel like they're more in the strict. Same thing with the Church of Christ. They're at like 2.7 to 3% increase the last few years in attendance, with their membership staying steady, right? But these churches are both on what I would say the more conservative side. And what's interesting to me though is that with them, those two church groups have had somewhat of a large woman influx. And I think it's like this happy medium where the people want to go to these churches and they do shop around until they find a preacher that's not pro-Israel. And I think that's the big one, because I can't tell you how many of these kids that are Southern Baptists I know go, hey, Gibbs, da-da-da-da-da, and they go, hey, well, you know, I like so-and-so, but then he started talking about Israel. There is a massive movement that's just like Gen Z. They're like, you know what? We don't like Israel. Not only do we not like Israel, we want to either be American Empire,
women,
but
right?
yeah,
they're pretty susceptible.
Yeah, but it's either they want to be American imperialist or they want to be isolationist. And that's what it feels like from a lot of them. And part of that includes, either way, Israel's either getting conquered in our bitch, or we're just saying fuck off. And that seems to be a very like common consensus what I found with the youth from the Christian like right so far that I've dealt with.
Yeah, it's my audience is predominantly libertarian, right? So, you know, I'm obviously getting a very different kind of like snapshot of the youth than maybe you guys are. Because in my audience, it's also very polarizing, right? Like you have the libertarians that are very much like fuck any state. Israel's a state. Israel engages in evil state actions, and they have kind of like gobbled up the Scott Horton, Dave Smith view of like free Palestine because we're libertarian. And then you have the other half that are like, you know, yeah, we don't like Israel because it's a nation state, but like we certainly don't fucking like Islam, right? Like that is inherently anti-libertarian. You cannot be a libertarian Muslim, right? Like the two are contradictory. You can't be a libertarian Muslim. The two contradict.
That makes no sense.
Well, you can't have a religion that specifically has taxation as a central tenet, and discriminatory taxation, and the taqiyya as a system of lying, and have a judicial system that goes against the concept that all human beings have, you know, the same inherent rights. When Islam says things like a woman's word is worth half that in court, all these things are antithetical to libertarian thought. I'm not saying like we can. I'm not trying to make this an Islam debate. I'm just saying
can't the Muslims do what the Christians do and just like
heads.
Ignore that specific part that tends to conflict?
Ignore all the parts. There's a lot of they can, but that's a lot of ignoring. A lot of ignoring.
Well, again, I said, you know, that's why I was
bringing a lot of ignoring.
Right?
Very possible.
I was bringing up cafeteria religion before, right? Like you could do the same thing with Islam. The problem is that Christianity is open to more interpretation, right? Like Christianity, you know, you can take like there's not a strict legal system in Christianity, right? In Christianity, there, you know, there's like letters to Paul, you know, letters from Paul. There's, you know, but then at the same time, you could read Samuel 1:8 and you could be an anarchist, right?
It's a collection of stories, not a rule book, right? That's the difference.
I mean, it is a rule book, but some of the rules are up to interpretation, right? And then you also kind of have thought leaders like Aquinas, right, in Christianity, right, that says that, you know, if the world contradicts the Bible, then either your interpretation of the Bible is incorrect, right? Or your interpretation of the world is incorrect, because these are like two paths of knowing God, right? Whereas Islam is very explicit. Now, you could have interpretation of the hadith, right? Like you could have different interpretation of what hadith are true or necessary, or what the meanings of those are, but you can't say your interpretation of explicit texts in the Quran are like actually wrong without a large faction being like, no, it's explicit, you fucking
there
idiot.
are people who do
What
it,
you're
but they're on,
saying
like,
is haram.
minor things. You are correct in that, like, everyone kind of agrees on the, the big 5 or the big 10. Thou shalt nots, and then after that, there
Yeah, I don't
things up
know.
for interpretation.
So I've just I'm not saying I have like an excellent view of this, right? So I'm gonna stay in my lane, right? But from what I've seen of Muslims online, right, like in Muslim debates, that like there is like room to debate like literally the Quran, right? To talk about like how like this is a incorrect interpretation, or this has been exaggerated, right, for the benefit of certain groups and all that. That like there's still political interpretations of the Quran, and like if you can interpret it one way politically, we can interpret it the other way. That's what I've seen. Again, I'm not deep into
It
this
depends.
one.
It depends on what you're arguing, but the problem is that goes completely out the window once you present the element of taqiyya. Once you present the element that under Islam you can lie to protect or to spread the religion, then everything goes out the window, because it is a tenet of the faith of Islam that you can lie in a debate to protect the, like if someone is talking about, let's say, Aisha, right? And talking about the fact that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, raped a little girl, right? Like you can lie about the age that occurred. You can lie about when they consummated their wedding.
I don't understand what difference that makes. Like because
Christians
you can
lie.
Christians can and
No,
will lie
Christians-
all the time.
Christians
He's
absolutely lie all the time, but it is a tenet of Christianity. To be honest, the entire Enlightenment is almost
Lying
owed
is a sin in Islam to
to
yourself from like a conqueror or something.
Yes,
But
but part of Christianity is the rejection of sin, and what Fabian's pointing out is that lying
Right.
is perfectly acceptable in Islam under these conditions.
so long as you're protecting
that's the big
yourself.
difference.
You guys kind of act
I don't
like
see-
Zakiya is just like Muslims get to walk around and lie all day, when most of them don't. They are pretty honest about their beliefs to begin with, and then I think most people are normies. Are cafeteria followers of the religion anyways. So like unless we're talking about like Islamists or like Christian nationalists or whatever, then in which case those people are probably going to lie to cover their beliefs anyways. And I mean,
No,
I
I completely agree with you.
No,
but I think when you're talking about someone that is like an apologist for Islam, right? That's not a typical Muslim. Right, like that's not the same thing as like a Muslim that is also your eye doctor. That's like a normal fucking person that lives down the street. You're talking about someone whose job it is to debate the faith.
You're
talking about a different person.
And I agree with you there, right? Like the people like us who debate aren't normal people, right? Like subnormal, right?
Abnormal.
Superior. I don't know.
Yeah, whatever. You guys can all the people at home, you can decide for yourself.
Let's debate it.
Let's debate it. But no. I agree with you, Scott. Right? That's a different class of an individual. But where we started is like, hey, like, can these people be a part of the libertarian sphere, right? And then we moved on to how flexible is Islam, right? And so yes, within the next step is about like how people debate that, but still, practically,
you can be culturally Muslim and a libertarian, right? You can come from a Muslim family, and you can engage in like, I go to the mosque because my fucking parents want me to go, and like I'm a part of the community, and like I believe in talking to God, and I think it's a good thing to pray 5 times a day because it forces me to recognize, to not forget the sins that I've committed throughout the day, right? To not just go on Christmas and Easter, but to make sure that my communion with God is a regular occurrence that keeps me on the straight path and arrow. You can
I
be a
don't know if the
cultural
Muslims go on
Muslim
Christmas
and
and
be a
Easter, bro.
libertarian. Well, I'm comparing it to the
in
deaths on
comparison,
Sunday,
yeah.
you know,
I couldn't help it.
holiday.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. It's a comparison to, you know, what we're right. Like you can be culturally Muslim, but you cannot be a devout Muslim that believes that everything in the Quran is the word of God and also believe in the non-aggression principle through and through and be a libertarian. You can as a Christian. That is the only thing I was stating, which is just a statement of fact. Right, the other things about my opinions of Islam and why it's evil.
Does anybody even know a libertarian Muslim?
Disagreeing with.
Nobody even knows one, right? Like it's not like if we know one libertarian Muslim,
I don't know. Unfortunately,
I don't know many libertarians.
I guess he's right.
Allow me to.
I guess he's right.
I thought libertarians were the same people who say that I'm not driving, I'm traveling. What are those people called?
No,
those are sovereign citizens.
I thought sovereign citizens and libertarians were the same people until I met Scott. So, you know.
God,
that's too far apart.
Actually, we're under maritime law ever since 1837. It's like, shut the fuck up.
I represent the corporation that is Fabian Liberty Scott.
Yeah, those people are a hoot. They're fun.
They believe that we were all incorporated under maritime law or some shit. And I've listened to a couple of them.
I remember that birth certificate is. It's your incorporation number, right?
What'd you say, Ali?
He was saying the social security number is your corporation
number. It's supposed to be your corp number, and you should be able to sell that for some amount of money because it is a corporation under the American bank system or whatever the fuck it is.
I hadn't heard that one. That's a lot of fun. Okay, I don't know if our last person is going to join us, which is unfortunate because I want to start a fight. I'm looking forward to starting a fight here.
I'm pretty sure there's gonna be a fight at some point.
There's gonna be a fight, but I was gonna have a different.
You wanted another fight.
You wanted a specific fight.
That was preliminary fights.
He was cruising for a bruising with somebody.
Yeah. But I guess it didn't show up. I guess.
So Lactoid, is your shirt just like informative? Like you can pee, you have the ability to, or is there more to it? Okay, there we go. There's more to I pee. All right.
It's a confession.
So it's a confession to just
it's a violation of the NAP, bro.
That's
unless it's your own.
No, it's not.
That you own.
You're a fucking.
No, this is like saying that peeing in a pool is a violation of the NAP. It's like saying climate change is a violation of the NAP. Okay, I'm just doing my business. It might affect the environment around me a little bit.
If I
that's on
them. Is that aggression?
No, climate change is not what? No, climate change is a natural occurrence that may be aided in part.
My pee is a natural occurrence. It's all natural, baby.
It is. It's a conscious decision.
It's all natural. It
is.
Is peeing? Whoa, yes or no? Is peeing natural? Yes or no?
Don't get it twisted. All right, don't get it twisted.
That's what I thought.
Violence against other humans is also natural.
I'm not peeing on them. I'm peeing in the pool. It just so happens due to the tides and the currents. Blame the moon, not me.
Beating someone to death is natural, right? Just watch monkeys. Okay, it's perfectly natural for one mammal to beat another mammal to death.
No,
that doesn't not make it aggression because it's natural.
Wait a minute.
What if they do? What if they do it dispassionately? Like then wouldn't it be like not aggression?
No.
Like a psychopath. They're not aggressive.
No. What we're talking about when we say natural, right, is that there's not an agency behind it, right? That like beating someone to death, right, takes.
That's why I said if he's incontinent, that's different.
He equals his agency. Unless Lactoid's confessing he's incontinent. I'll take that. Lactoid is incontinent. Let's go with that narrative.
Yeah, right. Lactoid. Hold on.
I pee a lot.
Lactoid pees.
That's incontinent.
You have to let out to pee eventually, right? Unless you die with it like locked inside of you.
Is he locked in the pool? Is he incapable of getting out of the pool? Is there a cage around the pool?
Someone deleted the ladder and then I couldn't get out.
Is the pool private property and are you okay with peeing on buildings then?
We have...
Here's a genuine question. Let's assume that it's my property. Okay, I own the pool. It's my property, and there's a bunch of other people in the pool. I did not disclaim whether or not I would or wouldn't pee in the pool.
You aggressed on those people.
Is it cool that I pee in the pool?
No.
I feel like you did because you're currently wearing a T-shirt that says "I pee in pools."
Assume that I wasn't wearing this very consent-maximizing T-shirt, where I make it very clear as to my intentions. Okay.
Hold on, so hold on. Let's just take your scenario. All right? You have the water in the pool. Everybody says it's fine or it's sus, right? All right. Let's just take the same scenario. Now you got rid of the water and everybody's standing there while you're pissing on it.
Yeah, you're just standing in your back.
It feels different. It feels different.
It feels different.
The water creates plausible deniability.
I pee on people. You're just these people are choosing to associate with you full well knowing that you have a shirt that says I pee on people. Right? You're letting
they should know. They should have known.
They're in your backyard, so it's your property. But I'm just saying
the banner should be
that shirt is made for public pools, and public pools are
It's interesting how the scenario changed.
Is peeing in pools compatible with Islam?
No. You gotta.
I feel like that's haram.
You can't even fart. You can't even fart and pray directly after. You have to do wudu after farting. So like,
wait.
Cleanliness is very close to Allah.
Hold on. Hold on. Give me the rules. When and I can't fart during prayer.
No. You'd have to stop your prayer, do wudu, and redo your.
Let's assume I have IBS. Am I just can't be a Muslim then?
You got to learn to control it, or there is permission for you.
Oh, they can make specific permission for me.
I mean, if there's like
that'd be funny.
If there's like actual medical reasonings and shit, like for sure.
everyone does the bow and just that'd be funny.
Man, Islam.
To be fair, right? Like I love shitting on Islam, right?
Yeah.
But I think the point here is the intent towards cleanliness as a means of resolving yourself of sin if you're going to attempt to commune with God, right? Like.
Well, right? It's like in the
isn't farting kind of ridding your body of sin though? It's like removing the unclean things.
The tabernacle, there would be the altar, which you would give the blood sacrifices. There would be the laver that the Levite priests would cleanse themselves before they would go into the tabernacle to be in the presence of God. You had to cleanse.
Yeah, I mean, in Leviticus, women on their periods had to go to a separate fucking village. You know what I mean? Like, you're on your period. Disgusting. Go to the period village.
Took my mom to the museum in Detroit, the DIA. First of all, Christian art. I completely understand why people back in the day were so devout when you're surrounded with like cathedrals and like the stained glass and the.
That's what happens when you conquer the world. You can build cool shit.
It was insane. The Christian art is some of the most amazing art I've seen. Personally, I'm preferable to the Orthodox art, but all of it's pretty sick. But I took my mom and she pointed out something. She asked me if I noticed anything about the women in the art, and I didn't at the point. But like all of them were they had head covers, they had head scarves. So I don't know. I think it says something. I think like are Christian women supposed to be covering up?
Sorry, no.
In the correct church, they are.
Actually, my mother was raised
Orthodox
Catholic,
women do,
and up until she was in the 4th grade, she wore a veil in her hair until Vatican II really started kicking in the Midwest. So that's
before before JFK really in America, right? Like everybody was JFK, that was pretty much it. And so like the Catholics and the Orthodox and the Orthodox still maintain it. And if you go to like certain Catholic places, like in the Vatican and stuff,
I want to talk about lactopene polls. I don't care about this. Those are back to this, right? We can explore that later.
Who cares about eternal life? Let's get back to urinating in a pool.
Pissing in pools.
What if heaven? Lactoid. What if heaven is like everyone in a pool? Huh?
What if everyone's gonna pee in heaven?
Trust me, it's not.
What happens then?
It's a pool.
Lactoid. Lactoid.
Prime, would you let Jesus pee on you? Yes or no?
Me?
Yeah.
Me? If I like it? No. Push him in the face.
Wait.
Jesus pees holy water, so it's fine.
Heretical.
It was actually Jesus. You would, but
No, it wasn't actual Jesus. Why would it be actual? Well, no. Hold on. First of all, I don't worship your religion. I don't think it's worth worshiping. So I mean, fuck them. And second of all, you just peed on me. So that's a big issue.
Yeah, but that would heal like everything in you. So I don't know. It's kind of like a jellyfish thing. Like, you know, but
yeah, what have you been stuck about jellyfish, Prime?
Prime, don't worry. God's not going to force anybody into heaven that don't want to be there. Don't worry about it.
Hold on. Everything is different when I have active consent, right? I told you guys before. I let my girlfriend pee on me that one time, right? Like I was like, okay.
I didn't know that.
You told us this at one point. I think I would have remembered.
Hold on, pause.
Does Corey remember?
Corey, do you remember him telling us this?
Well, Prime has told me this. I don't think he's.
I have never been told this story. I can confirm.
Oh, and Corey would know, Prime. So
Corey would know.
Tell us.
I let it happen one time. I was curious. All right, like, okay, let's do it. It was
someone in my chat said Saint Peter.
You were curious, or she was curious and she asked you. Like, did you wonder
what
it
felt like to be pissed on? I asked her.
Did it smell?
Like, hey,
you asked her, hey, can you pee on me? And she's like,
hey, so I guess now we know that Prime and Donald Trump have something in common: the golden shower.
We do. And what? No, we had two things in common, right? The pee and we don't drink. And we don't drink pee. Three things, I guess, maybe. But
we don't know that about Trump. He might drink.
Yeah, fair.
No, he said he's a teetotaler. Like it's Trump and Biden are actually the victory of the American temperance movement. The fact that
I was talking about him drinking tea, but okay, regardless.
Oh no, that's not about like liquor.
That's what I. That's the thing.
Okay, good lord. Okay, carry on.
I did it one time because I was like, curious what's going to be like. It was we did it in the shower, right? And just like,
does anybody even believe that Trump believes in God? Is anybody like that?
Hold on, guys. I'm gonna get this.
I know.
We're getting back to the pools.
Really deeply don't want the conversation to be anything other than him pissing in pools.
Prime wants to focus on the pool, and
but like it just seems like lactoid that like what you're saying is that this seems like a
R. Kelly
other conversations, right? Like about like. But I'm glad you brought climate change because I think it's something similar, right? And that like once you push the pollution to the air, right, it disperses, and so does the responsibility. It's not like, hey, I've taken this soot, right, and stuffed it into your face, and that gave you cancer, but it dispersed nonetheless, right? And can you be sure that my soot gave you cancer or whatnot? Now we're in the pool, right? It's not lactose directly.
You can't prove it's my pee.
You can't prove it's his pee, right? And then in terms of responsibility, right? In terms of damages, I guess we can't decide. But that doesn't mean that an aggression didn't take place, right? Like if I'm still
the limiting factor the limiting factor is it a second or third order consequence?
Oh
right?
God!
So when it comes down
it's
to
at least second order.
Right, when it comes down to adjudicating these things, well, no, it's not because it's in the pool and you peed in the pool.
No,
right?
it's the same first order consequence.
I didn't intend for the pee to get on them.
We can flip the question.
So it's like it would be the same thing as like a negligent discharge of a firearm.
It was a negligent discharge. Okay.
All right. Right. Like it's the same scenario. Like if I go into a house party and I randomly shoot a gun, but I'm not aiming at you, right? Like I'm still the person that chose to grab.
What if you put those fish from the Amazon that like swim
at
up
a
your
shooting range
in your pool?
And then the shooting range like ricochets and hits a fucking something else, and then that releases gas, and then over years that gas, causes like someone somewhere else to like do something else, and then something else happens, and we butterfly affect it.
But this shirt makes the pool my personal shooting range, kind of, right? Like when you go into it knowing that this is a real potential, as opposed to
Does it open up the floor?
If I own it and I say I'm going to pee in it, then insure it at your own risk.
The shirt doesn't imply that you own it. The shirt just says you pee in pools.
Okay, if I say I pee in pools and I am in my pool, what is the assumption there?
Multiple, not your pool only. So then the question.
But that would reasonably include my pool, the one that I owned.
But then also the implication that you pee in pools and that you're okay with peeing in pools also implies that you're okay with pees being pooled in, or pools being peed in. Jesus.
Haters wanna hate, lovers wanna love.
Are you okay
I don't
with
wanna do none of the above. I want to piss on you. I piss on you. I piss on you. I piss on you.
Yes.
So wait, would it be okay to like stock a pool?
Life complete is when to turn your face into a toilet seat.
I'm listening to Ollie. Ollie, explain your logic.
Okay, you pee in pools, right? You don't think that you're aggressing on any of the members of the pool that you're in because you're peeing in the water around you. The water disperses to those people. It's not your fault. Whatever.
I didn't make the water do that,
which is fine, which is fair. These are all things you're okay with. So the question then becomes: are you okay with people peeing in the pool? Because if you're okay with people being in the pool, you're okay with being peed on. And having the pee extend to you and rub all over you, seeing it as an aggression. See, that all you have to do is turn it around,
disclaim?
Guys.
Did they disclaim the possibility of their pee being in the pool? Because I have made it clear, right? I have put on the package the warning. I have put on the choking hazard. I have the shirt. There is the warning. They didn't do that. So they don't have the right to pee in the pool
what if
as
they just
I
localize
do.
it? What if they go, yeah, I pee in pools?
I have to consider like what level of pre-notice is required.
Like you feel,
for such an action. That's a good question.
The water is warm. You go, what the fuck? And the guy goes, yeah, I pee in pools. What's going on? What's the problem?
Okay, but that's after the fact. I wasn't warned.
He thought you'd be okay with it. You pee in pools. You have the shirt. I'm just letting
because
you. Like, I agreed with your shirt.
Whoa! Just because I pee in pools doesn't mean I'm okay with other people peeing in pools. What logic is that?
What logic is it that you're okay doing something, but no one else around you is supposed to be okay doing that?
Yeah,
what is
Gibbs'
that logic?
principle. He's taking after Gibbs.
No. This is not Gibbs' principle. This is like actually just because you do something doesn't necessarily mean you want it happening to you.
Hold on.
Do unto others what you want others done unto you, is I think the way that was supposed to be phrased.
Lacto's not Christian.
So let's change it. Hold on. This becomes a lot clearer if we change it to something that's a little bit more life-threatening, right? So let's say you wear a T-shirt at your home and you have a house party, and the T-shirt says, "I randomly fire my gun in my house." Now, without the T-shirt, without informing people that you randomly pull out a firearm and shoot it in the kitchen, and then sometimes people die, right? Like you have invited. It doesn't matter that it's your private property, right? You have aggressed upon them because you have not made it known to them that they're still a self-owner of their body, and then you harm them. But if you wear a T-shirt that says, "I randomly shoot my gun,"
well,
other people might assume it's a joke, right? We might get into a weird realm of absurdity.
If you say no trespassing, you don't have to warn people shit. So let's say
no, that's different. That's different.
Hold on, let's just keep.
You've added it. You've completely changed it by adding trespassing.
Okay, let me finish my thing.
I know you don't care about logical consistency.
That's
why you're retarded. You're not a libertarian.
No, I'm good. Yes. Okay, cool. Here's the thing. I have a scenario here.
Now zoom out.
He pulls in peas and meat. He pulls in lots of pools. That's what he does.
I think you're supposed to squeeze.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. It's fine. I'll just talk and then we'll fix it afterwards. He likes to pee in pools. All right. I say, hey, okay, on my pool, I put it's unadvisable to pee in pools. And then I proceed to not enforce them peeing or not peeing, but I happen to stock my pool with those Amazonian fish that like to follow piss into your urethra. Now,
I feel like they'd be killed by the chlorine.
No. We're using salt or something. We'll use a sodium filter.
Okay, we got salt. We got a saltwater tank. Got it.
Yeah, we got it. So whatever it takes to get these fish in there alive. And he decides to get pee in there. Now the other people, they haven't suffered this consequence because the fish only go after people peeing. Did I aggress on him, or did he aggress on all the other people? And should we be liable?
I just can't take you seriously when the cameras zoom that far in. I don't know.
Questions. Yeah.
I think that if you didn't warn me about the killer fish,
I put don't piss. It's unadvisable.
Zooming in again. Here we go.
Unadvisable.
They're not killer. They just lodge into your urethra with spikes.
And I warned you it was unadvisable to piss in the pool.
You said unadvisable.
Yeah. Some people might be into it. I don't know. Maybe I don't know what they are into.
Okay. I would feel aggressive.
I'm with Grid on this one. Right? It's no different than booby trapping your house from robbers, right?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
You should be able to do that too.
Yeah, but I feel like you would have to make an effort to make it clear that the person wasn't welcome onto your property, as opposed to it's just unadvisable to walk into this.
Lactoid.
Well, no, he says don't. He says don't pee in the pool.
That's not what he said. He said it was unadvisable to.
Give me 1 second. Lactoid. I kind of feel like you're just trying to find ex post facto justifications for people to have to roll around in your pee.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just going to be honest with you. I feel like this.
That's 90% of my politics.
I'm
really.
buying those fish for the pool in the backyard. I'm putting in that right now.
Yeah,
I've constructed this system for an ulterior motive.
That's true of all of you here except for me, because all of you have preferences that you wish to use state violence to enforce your preferences, and then you come up with
and state violence is basically pee when you think about it.
Justifications for why it's morally good for you to violate the rights.
Let's go to,
good point.
Only I can be logically consistent to say you can't pee in pools.
All know.
All of you shall now be referred to as pool pissers.
The pee is actually an analogy for Pinochet.
For the record, I would be okay with things other than state violence, just violence in general, making sure that people don't piss in my pool.
Thank you. Corey's been waiting patiently.
So, Lactoid, if someone is wearing the T-shirt that I sneeze without covering my mouth, and it's like you're in your home.
Oh God, we're going back to COVID, you weirdo.
No, it could be someone with TB. Okay, they have tuberculosis.
Yeah, I think if somebody has a shirt that says "I sneeze without covering my mouth" and they're in their own home, you should expect that they sneeze without covering their mouth.
But then, are you okay with a random person like sneezing in your face with TB?
Am I in their house when I saw the shirt?
General public, because you can't trace it back to them, right? Yeah, they have plausible deniability. You can't trace it back to the droplet.
No, I would need to see again. I would need to see like there would need to be enough forewarning to like avoid this person. And so they had a shirt that says I will sneeze in your face, or like I sneeze without covering my mouth.
So for you, the shirt is the difference maker. As in the absence of the shirt, it's not okay for you to pee in pools.
The shirt, and then also whether you're on your own property. Because I feel like if you're in public, like I have as much of a right to be there as you do. And so, like, you are limited in what you can do, even if you advise me. But if you're on your own property, you can do a lot of what you want, but you at least have to warn me, right?
Is it a combination of both the shirt and your property?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought libertarians didn't believe in public property.
Because I feel like
he's not a libertarian.
I feel like
he's a socialist.
I'm a socialist.
He's a socialist.
Sharing his urine all around the world.
Public property. Well, so here's the thing: is that public property is
8-ball corner pocket. If he just calls 8-ball corner pocket, it's totally okay. If he's got the shirt that says he pees in pool, it's all right. But yeah, you're kind of like living by the rule of pool.
Is that from a movie?
To engage with what Corey said without a bad joke.
I haven't heard of it.
The problem here is that public property is in and of itself a contradiction. If you eliminate public property, then you only have private property. And if you have private property, it is up to the private property owner
all the people are free to pee.
Homestead and communicate what the rules of their property are. And so if they have homesteaded the concept that people with tuberculosis aren't supposed to be on their fucking property, right? Then you are an aggressor just by the very nature of bringing that TB onto the property. That is the crime.
Okay.
The second order consequence that you're talking about is that they're somewhere where they may be allowed to be, right? And then they happen to sneeze because they just sneezed, right? And there was some involuntary reaction, and then maybe you got sick, but they don't have that per se control over the disease itself. They only have the control over what it is that their body does. The entire problem stems from the existence of the contradiction, the false claim that public property is a legitimate form of property.
I have a challenge for you then, Scott. Since you don't find public property to be legitimate, fair enough. Yeah. Let's say that I bought a 10-foot perimeter surrounding your home, and
make
then
sure
I wore
this
a shirt.
analogy includes you peeing in pools.
I'm going to make it involve peeing. Don't worry. And then in the perimeter surrounding your property, I have a 3-foot like moat pool basically, and I follow you around in the perimeter, and I jump in the pool and pee whenever you try to cross it. Am I aggressing upon you?
So I mean, this is what's known as the Blockian proviso, right? Like, do you have property,
P,
and then can you keep someone from doing it? And so the elements that are missing from the analogy that are necessary to actually solve this question is how did that property and your property in this equation get created, and how is it that there was an encircled property created without easement rights, which is the ability to enter and exit said property, right?
Well, easements are enforced by a government, right?
Not per se, right? Like an easement, if an easement
right
exists,
what if easement a continent? What if you owned a continent, Fabian, and the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans were just piss, and Lactoid owed them? I
thought mine was extreme. The whole oceans?
Yeah, both oceans are piss. If you want to leave North or South America, Fabian, you have to swim through Lactoid's piss ocean. All right? Now, there's your easement. It's 2 fucking continents. Explain now how this could have happened.
That's not.
Because this is a stupid idea. This is why you can maximize your largest.
Well, no, it's only stupid. It's only stupid because you won't know what easement is until you Google it.
We don't need an easement. Right? We don't need an easement because it's a stupid idea. Oh, not necessarily. Okay, fine. Not necessarily. Here's a scenario.
This is you gish galloping because you don't know what the word meant.
No, I understand what the word. Okay, yes, I probably should Google.
Just so we're clear.
That's why my scenario worked out perfect. Hold on, that's why my scenario worked out perfectly with your land and circle. By it's
the problem is let's say property.
I didn't know what it meant
though. Right, this is not the moat. Right, this is property A.
Yeah, North and South America. That's property A.
If property B is created. Shush. Go Google easement while
I don't need to Google. I explained a scenario that destroys your whole argument, and you're sitting here going, "Oh, I don't like it because it's a little bit outlandish." If we use North and South America, if we use all of North and South America,
you don't know what a word means.
Why don't you answer this question? If we use all of North and South America, it doesn't matter why there's no easement rights because this doesn't matter. It's how it came to be, bro. Because it's two fucking continents. You're surrounded by lactose.
Saying "bro" doesn't make you sound more right. Go Google what it is.
I understand what easement means. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, okay. Why don't you answer my question, not being a pussy?
So I'm not being a pussy because you are interrupting.
You're running from it. You're literally
like a fucking
away.
Childish retard.
This is what we call running.
You're interrupting.
Okay, go ahead. We'll see if you answer.
Okay, so regardless of whether or not it's the continent of Australia or whether or not it's a house in the woods, right? What occurs here is which property was homesteaded first. So if property A was homesteaded first, and then someone creates property B, which fully encompasses and enshrines property A, then they have committed an act of aggression by creating a property that fully does a 360 means because the person is not capable of utilizing their property by a means of entering and exiting it because they had a means of entering and exiting it before.
God gave them the rights to both properties at the same time.
Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. God's not real. Shut the fuck up.
Okay, they signed a contract to build properties at the exact same time. Okay, now go ahead. There's your scenario.
We'll find out otherwise at the end, Fabian.
So shush. So again, so when you are moving in and out of your property, or even when you moved into the property in order to create said property, you have at a minimum homesteaded either an easement or, if it's a certain situation like a village, a common property where individuals that were utilizing that property have easement rights. So the principal issue with the moat of P, where it's impossible for you to get around because a person's pissing wherever you go, is that you created the property after. Now, if you created the property first and then you just said, whoever wants this property inside of this moat of piss, have at it. It's not my property. Anybody can have it. If you enshrine this, and then I chose to go live in the piss moat property because I'm like, this is a really good defense mechanism. Well, then it's my fucking fault if I all of a sudden don't want to go into the.
Okay, I'm not referring to the second scenario. Moat. I think refer to the first scenario where you have you settle down in your square. You're entirely self-sufficient. You don't really leave the property. I come around and I'm a weird guy, right? I got some weird kinks, and then I dig the moat around your property, and then I create the P moat. Okay, and this is like my thing. And then you walk out one morning after a incredibly productive night that I had, and you look and you see for the first time a P moat, and you're like, Lactoid, what the fuck? How am I going to get out? And then I say, look, under the laws of the NAP, I have homesteaded this property surrounding you. Are you saying that because this reduces the value of your property or reduces your ability to use the property? Like, what's the actual harm to your property that's happening?
Right. So private property, right, ought be defined as. So first of all, it ought be defined as property of which you have exclusive control over. The moment that somebody utilizes their property to interfere with your exclusive control over your property, then they are aggressing upon you, right? And so this would be true if I started shooting guns at your property from my property, right? I no longer have exclusive control because there's also true if I enter your property without swimming through a piss moat. Now,
that's not affecting your property though.
It is affecting it. It's affecting my ability to exclusively control the property. In right now. Hold on.
Like that border.
Let's say I lived there for years and I had communicated via my actions or explicit signage or something, right, that I'll never leave my property. And then one day I decide I want to leave my property, then your piss moat isn't it's not an act of aggression against me because I had communicated either via my actions or explicitly to you that I was going to stay on my property. And that may be the explicit difference in Gibbs's scenario, where he says you own the entirety of Australia, right? Like if you own the entirety of Australia, you never leave Australia and you never communicate a desire to leave Australia, and you do everything that you could ever want to do in Australia, and then somebody makes a pissy around Australia, right? then all of a sudden you don't really get to claim that you were enshrined or like that you were captured or that you no longer have exclusive control over your property because you never homesteaded an easement right to enter and exit said property.
Well, that's my point, Fabian. That's my whole point. Look, and this is why I was laughing.
I have no problem answering your question.
When it gets down to it, like I could give you another scenario where you would have this, and there would never been an easement negotiated, right? Say I take a scenario where I own a ranch, and I decide, you know what, I fucking hate my little nephew, but I want to have to give him something in my fucking will. So I give his sister.
I want to have to.
I don't know. We're just gonna scenario follow through. I decide I'm gonna give him a piece of land, and I go, you know what? I'm going to give his sister the fucking land around it, and they're going to have it at the same time. And the only way he can inherit this land is if he lives there and she lives on this land. Okay? Cool. They decide. And I give her the land on the condition that she builds a piss moat around his house. Now, he lives there. He's stuck there, and there's no easement negotiated in. He's fucked. Right?
Yeah, that's not an act of aggression. No. Because you gifted him said land. Yeah, so, you had already homesteaded it. You were the private property of that land.
So now
you chose what to do with that land.
In
so
my
then
original
you gave
scenario,
him that land.
Now, if you take this expanded out, right? And this is why I said you could take the hypothetical that you said there is no God. If God just did that and zapped you here and zapped you there, there's no difference in either scenario as me sitting here deeding it in a will or some person in the sky flying and deeding it to his.
Those are words, not an argument. What's your argument?
This got really far from Lactoid peeing in pools.
Yeah, but I don't know what this matters.
If God is real,
the argument's about my pee, Bam.
Yeah.
I guess
It's about
my urine.
Lactoid, I have a shirt that says I fart in elevators, right? And I wear that shirt to work. Right?
Yeah, then we have an argument about your farts. Yeah.
Why are you having an argument about my fart?
Because you're not the CEO of the business. It's not your business.
But if it was your business,
if it was your business, and that was like you fucking wish,
then I can let it rip in the elevator.
And you're like, and like there's like page 13, page 13 of the employment contract says sometimes it gets a little smelly in the elevators. Like that's your fucking fault for signing the docs, you know?
So basically we're okay with Lactoid peeing in pools. There is no aggression in accordance.
We're not okay.
You know, that's what I'm asking. So if I wear a shirt that says like I fart in public, right, and I'm walking, and I just now have the ability to crop dust anyone I want because I have.
I mean, you had that ability before.
That's the issue.
Yeah, but now it's like no one can be mad, right? No one can be like, hey, what the fuck? Like, I mean,
no, they can be mad.
Is anybody actually gonna get mad? Like,
if you wear a T-shirt that says "I rape children," and then somebody
go like, "Oh, somebody farted," I'm gonna go.
They're gonna be like, "Well, he can't get mad. He has a T-shirt on that says I rape children."
You're in a subway cart, right? You know, you just had. I don't know what makes you Taco Bell that day.
That'd be the least disgusting thing that's happened in a subway car. Okay?
Yeah, right.
On a daily basis.
Sam, what'd you want to say?
Yeah, I was curious. Like, I don't know why this matters at all, but I'm saying, does this apply like to the Up House?
To what?
The story about in the movie Up, the Pixar movie, it's based on a house where people built up like a mall or some big facility around it.
What does this have to do with pee?
Oh, that is a good.
He's talking about the encirclement of property, right? Yeah. He owned a house, and then they
make it pee related, and maybe I'll understand.
Yeah, they kept trying to upsell him, and he was like, "I'm not selling." They got to they offered him like $4 million for like a quarter acre land. He was like, "I'm not selling." So they said, "Okay, F you," and they just boxed him in on all sides, where like you couldn't get sunlight.
Yeah, that's a Disney movie. It's a fantasy. No, what happens in America is the government just comes in and eminent domains your house.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, but we don't like that.
It's not a fantasy.
Didn't that happen in China? Did the one guy not give up and they just built the freeway around him or some shit? I'm like, of all the countries to not have eminent domain.
I'm pretty sure this happened in the United States. Like that's why they made the movie Up based on a real guy.
As a farmer, trust me, eminent domain's a thing, and there ain't nothing you can do to fight it.
No, he did. He won. He didn't get eminent domain.
Was he in the United States?
Yeah.
Where?
Yeah, well, it just depends. It depends. Yeah, it just depends upon the city and the state municipality and how devoted to corruption they are. But like, I'll take your example as is, right? Like, if I take your example as is, does it apply in that scenario as well? Is it encirclement? The problem it is that we have to assume that all of the other property in around him was purchased by a company. So he still had the easement rights. He still had a sidewalk. He still had the ability to utilize his property. Now, yeah, it's not eminent domain it's not an act of aggression any more than black people moving into the neighborhood and making the property values go down is an act of aggression, right? If private property owners want to sell their property to a corporation, and that just so happens to be that everyone around you sells their property and you don't, and now you have a shopping mall built around you, like that's just kind of like tough titty. Like that just happens. Other people have a right to utilize their property, and you don't have an expectation to force them to use their property in a way that you want them to use it. Otherwise, it's no longer private property.
Interesting. So
would it be okay if I built like a dome or like around your property, but I did leave you, like I let you leave and come back, but like you did get.
We could call it Pistralia.
No, you had like no, you couldn't see anything really, no sunlight, but you couldn't leave. I wasn't interfering with your control over it. Like you could leave, you could come, etc.
Yeah, I mean, like
there's
you
a
would
giant
have a certain
dome.
You would have a certain level of airspace that you have homesteaded, but if the dome's big enough, then no,
It's big enough.
right? Like because property ought be 3-dimensional, not 2-dimensional, right? So there is a certain area in the sky that is no longer your property, and the same would be true if you have, let's say, an aquifer underneath you. Like there's a certain level beneath the ground that if you don't have a well that's utilizing that aquifer or something, right? And you're like, then it's not your property.
Then
Now it's gonna suck for you, but like,
Oh,
tough titty.
one more question. One more
wanna-
question. If I had a sufficiently high flagpole, could I claim airspace theoretically all the way up?
If you built a moon ladder all the way to the moon from your property, that's your fucking property.
Okay.
I don't think that's true. I'm pretty
Can I
sure
build a
airspace
wall?
is real thing.
I'm not
Could I
talking
build a
about
wall?
U.S. law. I'm talking
Hold
about.
up.
I'm talking about
I think they
libertarian
are
theory.
working
Yeah,
on
yeah,
that.
and libertarian ethics. Okay, I
the space
build.
elevator.
Because he's a lawyer, he'd know better than I would.
Yeah. So libertarian ethics. I build a giant net, like a fence net, that goes high enough to where jumbo jets have to pay me toll in order for me to lower the net for them to fly through. Because this is my property. I homesteaded it.
Again, this is where it goes back to that A and B scenario. Who homesteaded what first? If there were
I
already
did it
jets-
first.
Right, like let's say you did this before,
Airplanes were
Wright
invented?
brothers discovered
Well,
the airplane.
jumbo jets don't homestead air when they fly through it.
Well, the company that is utilizing specific pathways, right, to fly from space to space is in effect homesteading that as a traffic space that they
Wait, they have to
utilize.
homestead
Well, hold on.
that they-
Is there?
Pathway?
I have a real question though.
They
Like, when
are
you-
by the action of utilizing
why
that
nobody
property and
wants to
changing
implement
that
any
property.
campus.
What would the
towards
space elevator
man's
law
will.
be? What would the
Well, they
space
didn't
elevator
change
laws
it.
be? Like, if would that actually like?
It's,
Fabian
that's
just brought
that's
that
like
up.
Lockean proviso shit. That's not anything since the 1980s
No,
in
hold-
terms of libertarian philosophy. They don't need to change it. They just need to utilize it, and they need to intersubjectively communicate that they are utilizing it for their own means.
So
Right?
you
And
hold
so
on.
by
So,
flying, they are clearly communicating to everybody.
so
that
I can't
use
fly in that
this
lane.
property.
I can't fly in that lane anymore. They've homesteaded
Not
that.
without the
flight lane?
person who
Not
is
without
homesteaded.
permission.
Well,
that as-
hold on. How would that work for a
that's
space?
interesting.
Wait,
Hold on.
before
How
we
would
go
that
to
work for a space?
hypotheticals,
This is
I
not.
just
Well,
want-
go ahead.
I just want to ask Lactoid because I'm curious. What is that? I mean, to your knowledge, the best of your knowledge, what is the actual rules on that? Like, I'm assuming that you only own so far up when you own land, because you also don't own like most people don't own their own mineral rights. Like, you don't technically own below the ground.
Well, so under common law, you technically under common law, your ownership is technically all the way up into infinity and all the way down into infinity. That's like you're technically the thing. Now,
Wait, through the Earth? Like,
well, not through the Earth.
The other
they
person
didn't.
on the
Okay,
other
when
side
they're
of the Earth?
they weren't
There's a little
thinking
bit
about
of
it
contradiction there.
super. I understand. They weren't thinking about it like super like in this way. They were just saying
They weren't
down is
debate
yours,
bros.
up is yours. They weren't debate bros. Okay, they were like this works. We'll just go this way. Now there's a shit ton of regulations on this though, right? Obviously, if you want to build a certain height, it's got to be cleared through like 18 different things. The FAA has like a tremendous amount of jurisdiction over like different regulations for if a building is so high, they have to approve it. The lights on it have to be approved. You have to have lights to like warn aircraft, etc. all this shit. Like there's a lot of rules surrounding it. So, and with mineral rights, I know that you can bifurcate your part. Like, so you can technically sell the mineral rights separately from the property. Like you can bifurcate it that way. But at least historically, like you would own everything under your property. So if you own like the best example of this is like back in the day, people who own these like pieces of land, and then it was discovered there was oil underneath them. The landowner was the guy.
Crystals.
He was the one who owned all the oil, right?
Yeah,
and
but
so,
I was about to say, but in modern law, like for example, if you move into a suburban area or something, it's like, wow, you strike gold. Like they say, there's like a highly likely chance that you don't own the mineral rights. Like if you move into a community, like they sold you the land
in an urban, it's possible. Like in an urban or suburban area, I'm not. It's probably going to be like a case by case basis. It's probably the case. I know for a fact that when it comes to digging,
be a developer.
Yeah,
right?
when it comes
so
to
the developer
digging,
will put in
you're
those
going to have
contracts
to.
that they own the mineral rights.
What about
you agreed upon that when you purchased?
Probably, but I also think the city, has a lot of like ordinances
rights,
around that too.
I can speak to this, but yeah, in the state of Nebraska in particular, when you buy a field, you do in fact own the mineral rights, but if, for example, you have aquifer water underneath your property, you do not own that. That is property of the state of Nebraska that they let farmers use.
I mean, that's different than it is here for sure. Like I can sell them. I can sell mineral rights to people on land, and I can keep mineral rights. I can sell land and own the mineral rights. I even own whatever. In fact, there's a big legal fight right now in Texas because a couple of states have like all the aquifer money. Right, like that's a big thing going down. Like I think we just did a panel on it. It's super complicated, and now they got decent. Anyway, I have a question though about the opposite direction. Right, so someone brought up the space elevator thing. Right, and I think that's actually interesting. And I know there's regulations and whatnot, but like, how would that work in theory if you're actually building a space elevator? That seems like that would be perfect libertarian concept. But then you're excluding people from using that area. How would that work legally and in y'all's libertarian worlds? I kind of want to see how that would work.
I mean, legally, you'd have to get the government's permission. But
whoever has the biggest bombs owns space. That's it.
Yeah. Well, no, because
that's the reality.
Because they're already talking about doing this with the space elevators. They're talking about the skyscrapers that travel like on asteroids they put into like orbit. Like these are all theoretical concepts people are looking at building. How is that going to interact whenever you have something moving through different areas? That's like let's say it's a skyscraper attached to a moon that they put in place, and it's like going and stopping in New York one day. Like you can't regulate that like an airplane. That's going to take out like no travel.
Well, the airplane.
Area.
I'm sure if you had if you had a drone that had like unlimited range,
you're blocking off thousands like miles of space
within your thing. I'm pretty sure the U.S. has a right to shoot it down, right?
Okay.
Well, yeah, there again, there's FAA like regulations on like how high you can fly. This is a big thing when it comes to drones now. There's all sorts of these like rules in place, and it's going to be like a jurisdiction by jurisdiction.
Okay, so I don't want to. I want to.
And the FAA is federal, so I mean they have their rules, but of course cities also have their own ordinances on it.
I'm gonna move on from this, but
back to the
back to the P.
Well, thank you, FQ. It says aren't a man's farts everyone's business? Yeah.
This sentence perfectly surmises the patriarchy.
Thank you, FQ, for the $2 super chat, guys. If you want to super chat, want to support the channel, consider doing that at youtube.com/FromKai. And we'll read your super chat.
Yeah, super chat me too, boys.
Yeah. If it's funny, I guess I have to do it like this. But yeah, I guess it becomes everyone's business. This is what we got us here, right? Like, just because you do an offense through a diffuse environment, right? Does that diffuse your responsibility? This is how we got here in the first place. Lactwood being a degenerate,
to some extent,
it does.
Hold on, you think this too to some extent?
Hold on. Well,
well, so like
I can think of several hypotheticals in which you have to agree.
You can clean.
I go and pee in the ocean.
Hold on.
There's a difference between that and peeing on you. Don't you agree?
So, yeah, well, obviously, but there's a better way to. There's a better. Hold on. Stop trying to make your bad joke. So there's a way to clean up.
Only
bullying KOA. What's up?
It's only the humorless that don't get good humor, man. I get it. You've
well,
never
no,
had
it's
good
just
humor
like
in your whole
if you're gonna like interrupt.
Yeah.
Me,
We know you don't
have
good humor. We get it. You're a humorless. Yeah, we get it.
All right, cool. You're done. So, anyways, the way to clean this up
I'll let you
is
know when
to
I'm done. You just need to
the way to clean this up in an action. Okay, are you done?
Maybe.
Okay. What are you, like a snarky fucking teenage girl?
You could have just
just a little more witty than you, unfortunately. Now go on, make your point.
All right, cool. So, presumingly, I have permission from the great Kaylee Nation to speak.
Okay.
Go on, Fabian. Go on. All right, just enthralling us with this amazing topic. Keep going,
please.
And then so the way to actually, so the way to clean up the question is to actually think about it like noise ordinances in a neighborhood.
That's what
right?
We're
because
man. Cleaned up the question.
Topics.
Well, I mean, if you actually want to like think about the question and the concept of diffusion and like how you ought utilize your property, you know, when your property tends to bleed onto other people's property, right? Like I think noise ordinances in neighborhoods is kind of the perfect way to do it. And because, you know, if I live in a nice quiet neighborhood and then somebody moves in and then they just start having house parties that are incredibly loud at 2:00 in the morning on a Thursday, then all of a sudden, like, you feel wronged, right? Like you feel like what the fuck? Like this was a quiet neighborhood. I was using my property in one way, and now I have to wake up for work at 7:00 in the morning and I can't sleep because of this. And so the real question is what is it that you are homesteading with your property? And what is it that you're explicitly or unexplicitly homesteading? That's the real limiting principle in understanding how that diffusement of the usage of your property onto other people's properties could best be tackled.
Okay, so moving on from this, thank you all for that. I guess, well, I won't thank Lactoid. No, fuck that. He's been aggressive on all of us this entire time. Fuck that
years.
Shit. Yeah, well, years indeed. But still, I like it when we talk about absurd things sometimes, right, and take it to the logical extremes, because it's a lot of fun. But anyway, so I wanted to talk about something a bit more serious. I'll take this off. I mean, it's true, but I'll take that off for now. I've got, you know, when I make those banners, I save those banners, right? Like, so we can deploy those banners anytime. Just put that out there, okay? All right. In case people forget, you know, about your proclivities.
Fabian's favorite feature.
Right?
Bro, it just makes everybody small on my screen, but it's fine.
Yeah,
it does.
In case anyone forgets Lactoid's proclivities, we can just redeploy those banners. So don't worry, people. All right. In any case, something I want to talk about before we get to the main topic, right? But this is related to the main topic. It was actually extremely related to the main topic, right? Is the utter capitulation of the Democrats in the face of Trump tyranny, right?
I'm so glad you brought this up.
Complete and total defeat. Oh, well, sorry. It's a defeat in progress, right? Because there is a slim chance, and I mean very, very, very slim chance, that the Republicans in the House will screw this up and not allow the Democrats to hand them a victory. But still, as of now, right, the Senate. We'll talk about the Senate Democrats. Senate Democrats have shown themselves to be extremely weak individuals, and like I predicted this was going to happen. I predicted that the Democrats weren't going to stand firm because the Democrats are paid opposition, right? Like this is what they do all the like again and again. Like when they get into fights with Republicans, they stand down. Now, I want to say something. I'm going to say that and I think I got in an argument with you about this, Gibbs, early on. But like, you know, Gibbs said, well, this is, you know, the Democrat shutdown. And I said, no, it's a Republican shutdown, right? Republicans were like, eliminating these important healthcare subsidies, which is going to hurt everybody. It's going to hurt everybody. The Republicans are doing that, and Democrats are like trying to fight to get this back, right? To not hurt the American citizens, right? And the public, that's what the public thought. The public thought this was a Republican shutdown, right? That was their conclusion. But now the Democrats have given up, right, and actually accomplished nothing, right? This whole shutdown where people have been hurt in terms of like losing access to benefits, right? Trump specifically did that to them, but whatever. And also losing access to pay, right, and possibly being evicted or any other issues, monetary issues that might have popped up, right? That was all for nothing. And so this was a Democrat shutdown. Like, we should blame the Democrats. They got nothing. That they embarrass themselves, they humiliate themselves. In fact, it's worse than nothing. It'd be better if they didn't fight. It would have been better if they didn't fight. This is a Democrat shutdown. Blame the Democrats. They did this to you. They did this to you.
Probably if you don't,
and promise me that I'm not
since you vote me, probably if you don't mind me just responding to that, because I feel like it hurts you to say that, because I know every time my prediction ends up being right, it pains you to your soul. I know it does.
But give people credit.
But no, I know you do. But hey, that's what I'm saying. You give credit even if it's painful. But I'm sitting here saying, like, when I saw this, I thought, and I read your topic today, and I was sitting there reading it, and I'm like, okay. It's funny because then they capitulated. I think that's the proper word to use in this situation, right? They basically gave up nothing, and then they did it for very little gain. And I thought my heart of hearts, my strategy, if I was a Dem, would have been, okay, sell this. It's a Republican shutdown, even though it's our shutdown. Sell it. They were doing that. People were buying it. Not everybody, but some. Then my thought was, okay, win big at the elections. And I know that some people are going to spin it as they won big. But to me, it looks like they won in places they were already going to win. And some of the people that won are like in that off year. It's like that extreme groups of people. And I think they're going to do more harm than good in the long run. I guess we can get into that into the second part of this in a second. But then they just gave up. They finally got a little bit, and they're just like,
here we go with this.
That one was on purpose, though. That one we're getting it. I can't zoom out, but when they did it, it was just shocking all the way around, and I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it that they just gave up, and I was like, oh wow, I was right, but I didn't expect to be that right.
I think the primary way to view this, to actually understand this, is I think so many people have this very naive sense of politics that Democrats or Republicans are that they're voting. Very few believe that they're actually voting in the interests of the people that they represent. But I think a lot of people think that they're voting and that they're engaged in this like long-term strategy, this long-term political strategy. And when reality, almost all, right, there are some few exceptions on the left and right, you know what I mean? Like maybe Thomas Massey or something on the right, Kohana on the left, right? There are some people, but for the most part, every vote is based off of the incentives that exist for them. And the incentives that exist primarily for congressmen and senators is, how do I maintain power and grow in wealth and notoriety? And so these government shutdowns, they were for the elections, I think, right? It was obviously the Democrats that did it. They kept trying to lie and say that it was the Republicans that did it, when it was the Democrats that were voting to, that voted in this way, and they got nothing out of it. But they didn't get anything out of it. They did get something out of it. What they got out of it was being able to gaslight the American people that this was a Republican shutdown, so that people would go out and vote for Democrats in the election. And then once that pressure and that incentive was gone, then they can come back to the table, and they don't really give a fuck what the deal does or doesn't do, because they know that they lack the current political power in Congress and Senate to get the things that they specifically want. They're just so what they're gonna do is they're gonna have, like, I don't remember if it was 8 or 9 people that voted differently, but the people that are in safer seats, right, can now go switch and vote with the Republicans because they're in safe seats, and that's good. And the other people can pretend like they're still fighting when they're not, and then make sure that that's not on their voting record. And then they
Schumer
gets
to pretend like he voted against it.
Right.
Let's go to Bam, and then Lactoid.
Yeah, no, everything everyone just said was completely wrong. It was also dumb, and this was absolutely a Republican shutdown, specifically and exclusively because whenever it comes to form the government, this isn't their first day. They know that you require 60 votes. That means you have to do legislation from a bipartisan perspective. That means you talk to Republicans, you talk to Democrats. We know we're not getting everything we want, but we know when spending ends, and then you communicate, you come together, and you build something out to continue the government funded to get you enough votes to get over the threshold and finish line. Donald Trump, since he's won in office, has been completely and explicitly against any form of bipartisanship, and he said so outright. That he has no intention of working with Democrats. I think even before the shutdown happened, because Trump doesn't know how government works, they asked him like, "Oh, okay, are you going to do your spending from a bipartisan perspective?" And he said, "No." He said, "We'll just do it with Republicans. We'll do CR," not knowing he didn't know that the CR required 60 votes. So the reason why it's a Republican shutdown is because the Republicans, uniquely only under Trump, have chosen not to do bipartisan negotiations. The Democrats.
It was the other party that shut the government down then.
No, it's the party.
Yeah.
No, it's not. Yeah. The party in power.
Because they're the ones in power and they want to keep the government open. And shockingly, it didn't stay open.
No, there's 17 other people that said cool things. No.
Yeah, sorry, man. That's just the way it is.
I just gave exactly why it was Republicans, and I'm going to continue my point.
None of those reasons were good enough, though.
They were. I don't care what you think is good enough. It's truth. It's the actual
just
fact.
That's not what traditionally people
think. No, shut up. Nobody else talks right now.
Yeah.
I have a lot to say.
I was sorry, man.
I'm sorry. We'll stop. Damn. Fix it. Don't let it happen again.
Probably will.
Continuing on. Once the Republicans established the shutdown, the Democrats, rightfully so, put up a fight for the repair of the subsidies, or repair of the healthcare subsidies, ACA subsidies, as they rightfully should have. Donald Trump, being the evil mongrel that he is, doesn't care about the people suffering. He cares about himself looking good, but he has no interest in people suffering, starving, dying, homelessness. None of that bothers him. He partied throughout the entire shutdown.
I'd say the same of the
shut the fuck up. He posted a number of parties throughout the shutdown.
It's the only base thing about him is that he doesn't give a fuck. EBT goes away.
So so we hit the point. The Democrats ended up winning having success in the elections. Great, but food stamps ended up expiring, and they were supposed to. And Donald Trump said that he wasn't going to fund them at all. He went to court. The courts required him to make partial payments, and even though he should make full payments, but they took it to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court pushed it down, stating that he didn't have to make the full payments. Once these discrepancy payments were used up, no more food stamps had to go out, according to the courts. So now you're talking about 42 million people potentially either having a lack of some amount of food or starving. You're talking about a continuation of federal workers and military members going without pay. That's cool that you might be able to make it the first month without having your rent money. If this goes on to 2, 3, 4, 5 months without federal workers and military members receiving their pay, like people are going to be evicted and actually homeless at this point.
Can I ask a clarifying question?
Sure. When I'm finished, I would love to clarify.
I thought you were wrapping up. My bad.
Yeah, I'm close. Sure. I'm close because I'm right here to the point. So the Republicans.
It is. I got 2 kids.
So at which point the Democrats had to make a hard decision. We're into the longest shutdown in the history of the United States of America. People are going without food, going without their pay, and there's no end in sight. No one, including Prime or anyone himself, would say Prime couldn't name at what point he would have to accept that. Oh, okay, maybe the amount of people that are actually losing their houses and starving and dying is enough that the Republican.
I can see the future.
No, you didn't have a goal in mind. You're just blaming because I don't know. That's a different thing. You have to have at a certain point where you realize that there's diminishing returns. You realize that, like, oh, okay, more people are going to be impacted by not having food than a higher health insurance premium. So the 8 Democrats that came across, even though it wasn't even Democrats at all, the 8 Democrats that didn't cost, most of them aren't even running for re-election. It wasn't even that they're safe seats; they're just not running.
Yeah,
that's a safe seat.
Yeah, that's a safe seat. But go ahead.
It's
not.
Those are different things. Someone not running for re-election is not the same thing as safe seat. But
it's a safe seat.
I don't want to hear it.
They're not up for re-election in the next cycle.
I don't want to hear you talking
right
now. I'm right here.
I bet you're really delightful.
I am. I'm the best there is. So
let me know when you decide to start showing it.
Got you. So so at which point they made a decision that, hey, 50 million people on the street starving and dead is better than the 5 or 6 million people that are going to have higher health insurance. It's unfortunate. It's an unfortunate reality. Is 5 or 6 million. I said
5 to 6 minutes. Sorry, I didn't hear that. But sorry.
Yeah, 5 to 6 million people that are going to end up having higher health insurance premium. It's an unfortunate reality, but if the Democrats continue this on for the rest of eternity, for the expectation of winning, because you can't give a date. That's the only alternative. If you don't know when it will go on for the end of eternity, then yes, the Democrats took the wins they had. They guaranteed the vote. They brought back all of the laid off workers that Trump had done, as well as like a couple other things. So yes, the Democrats ended up having a win, and it wasn't their shutdown.
So we're going to clarify
question now.
We have Lactoid and we have Admiral Gibbs. Is your question short?
It actually is. I'm just trying to understand your argument a little bit.
Lactoid and Gibbs.
So it's very. You're saying that it is incumbent upon the Republicans, with the majority in all branches of government currently, right, to compromise with the minority party that isn't in power. Therefore, it is their fault.
As is the entire of U.S. history. Yes.
Oh, that's not. Oh, so it's always. So what you're saying is it's always
60 votes, and you don't have 60 votes, you must compromise. Yes.
Okay. So if the situation is reversed,
right,
are you saying that if Democrats are in control and the Republicans refuse to pass something in the Senate, that it is the Democrats' fault for not agreeing with the minority party, that it is no longer the minority? It's not the Republican shutdown, but it would be a Democrat shutdown if they didn't compromise with the Republicans.
When the Democrats
to get the votes.
The reason that Democrats actually do end up being able to pass CRs, Donald Trump is historically unique in being a president that's not able to pass CRs, is because, yes, when Democrats are in power, they do bring Republicans to the negotiating table and make concessions on things that they wouldn't want to give on simply because it's the reality. That is, I don't know a more direct answer that could be. I'm sorry, you have to pay attention back.
If the shoe's on the other foot, does the same rule apply? That's the question.
Me?
No, somebody said that's not an answer to his question.
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't say anything.
Yeah.
We've had government shutdowns under Democrat administration.
Not in recent history.
Under Obama, what are you talking about?
Yeah, Donald Trump has had more shutdowns than every president in the U.S. history combined.
Lord. That's
okay.
not an argument.
It is.
So
I wrote down some. Bam, I'm going to heavily disagree with you. So I wrote down a lot of things that you said, and I kind of wrote down my points. So you talked for a little bit, and so I'm just going to kind of respond. Yeah. As you accurately pointed out, yes, 60 votes, that you need to have 60 votes without breaking the filibuster. Both parties have declared this to be a kind of important tradition. Republican leadership in the Senate has said that they were unwilling to break the filibuster, despite the fact that Trump wanted them to. The response was, no, we're not going to do this. We really care about this. 60 votes. That's what we have to hit. And the interest of having the filibuster, you're right, is to have some level of bipartisanship. It's also to perhaps slow the rate of change and prevent some kind of radical policy being able to be passed quickly per cycle. However, just because things encourages bipartisanship doesn't mean that one party can hold up the process and cause the shutdown and then be alleged to have not caused the shutdown. The Democrats were the ones that are proposing a change to the status quo. Imagine if Republicans were stopping a clean resolution and continuing the shutdown. Let's assume, again, the situations have changed. If the Dems didn't agree to fully fund a border wall that they had just there was just in the last election, and that they had lost on, it turns out, or that the Republicans had lost on. That most Americans, Republicans were running on a border wall, but the Democrats still won. And so when it came time to pass a budget, the Republicans said, no, we're not going to agree to sign this budget unless you pass the border wall. And the Democrats say, no, we're not going to add something to the budget. We're going to go ahead and pass the budget as is, clean resolution, continuing resolution, so we can debate more. Republicans proposed 14 clean resolutions, not proposing any
6
new
of them
spending.
made it through the House, yeah.
Yes, not proposing any new spending, just saying this is the status quo. We can have an argument about what new things should be funded, right? The status quo, clean resolution. 14 times they tried, 14 times they failed.
Subsidies are part of the status quo. That's current
no, they were expiring. They were set to expire.
So
it's not like Republicans. It's not like hold on. Yes, if the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act was set to expire, then Republicans re-adding it would be a violation of the status quo. That would be adding new spending because the spending was set to expire.
But they said it was part of regular business. They said we're keeping things as they are now. That was their argument. I'm just trying to keep them consistent.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah, they might make the argument, but I'm telling you, from like, if the Republicans were the ones holding up the government spending because they were insisting on the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, and they were the minority and they were like holding it up, then of course the shutdown would be their fault, assuming that it was slated to end that year, because they are the ones proposing something. They are the ones saying, we're not going to agree to a clean resolution. You have to agree to this thing, this new thing, this continuation. You have to agree to that. Otherwise, we're not going to fund the government. So it's obvious that the Democrats were responsible because they were the ones saying, you have to add something to the budget, or we're not even going to let you fund the stuff that's already in it. The clean resolution the Republicans tried 14 times. One last thing. Yeah. One last thing. The fact that there's the Democrats' shutdown is like so painfully obvious when you're seeing the reaction now from Democrats, now that some Democrat leaders decided to vote to open the government, right? 8 Democrats have apparently gotten on board, right, with voting to open the government, and what's the response? A lot of Democrats are really upset about that. They're saying, oh, our strategy was all for naught. Our tactics here, why did we even do it? Why did we even do it? Oh, why did you even do what? What were you doing?
Yeah, Prime not a Democrat. Don't listen.
No, actually,
no. This is most of Twitter right now. Just to be clear, this is not just Prime.
Prime doesn't fall in the category I'm about to describe because he was openly like wanting it the whole time. But there are people right now that are like avid Democrats that are sitting here that have advocated for this shutdown the whole the whole time. They want it to end. They're trying, and then all of a sudden now that it's over, they're mad. I've seen several of them. All over the internet right now. You can't say it's not happening. It's major influencers. Here's the issue. Here's the issue I actually have, and it's actually with my fellow conservatives here. Y'all really missed the golden opportunity with both y'all going ahead.
Golden shower?
Golden shower, perhaps. All right, here. Whenever BAM did something they accused the people on the right of doing all the time, which is what we like to call revisionist history. He took what happened every single time in American history, which is whenever the minority party that's lost the last election held up budgets and then ended up causing a shutdown, was blamed for it. He took that, and that's how it's been blamed. It's in all of history. In fact, Jake Tapper called out the Dems for doing that on CNN, and then in light of that, he put a clip show together because it happened so many times, and they just showed it a couple days ago on there, and it's all over the TikToks everywhere, and it's a clip show of every time in history where the person, the minority party, has been blamed for the shutdown. Right, and this is something they put forth. This is what is traditionally called being the blaming of it's who calls it. So what Prime was saying is different than what Bam is saying, and I want to make sure that we differentiate because Prime has been honest. He wanted it shut down. He's saying it's shut down for these reasons. We're fighting for this, yada yada. Bam over here is going, no, we're going to reframe all this, and we're just push branding. And that's the dishonesty. He's going to say the Republicans shut it down because they didn't want to pass the bullshit that was already expired. That's the fact. It's dishonest Dem tactics, as always.
No, it's not dishonest. There's a distinction. There's a distinction on a case-by-case basis.
Like, in this case, it's dishonest Dems. Thank you. You're right. 100% correct.
Okay, gotcha. So there's a distinction between when if someone's like, oh, okay, I want the border bill. I want like $2 trillion for the border, for the border pass. If you do that, and the Democrats' response is no, we're not negotiating on anything. Get effed. At that point, that would be a Democrat's responsibility. If the Democrats' response was instead, no, but we can have some negotiations to meet something on the table. We need these 60 votes, but you don't get everything. Then at that point you could argue, it's like if they say like no, it's all or nothing, then at that point you would argue, you can start to make the argument. Like,
even if the Dems,
but you have to negotiate in good faith is the point.
Hold on, even if the Dems propose a clean like a clean resolution, like the Republicans are saying we want some border funding.
You know this language is new, right? What like that's Republican propaganda in itself. When do we call it clean and dirty CRs?
I've heard that for a while now. In terms of a clean resolution, it's simply the spending that was already pre-authorized.
Just
no new spending.
You doesn't mean it's new, fam. You know.
No, I'm saying that historic. We just call them continuing resolution. This clean. The Democrats are
clean because there's no new spending. That's the difference.
I understand, but I'm saying that this isn't how we've generally talked about these things. Republicans are like I've made this language. Like,
and by the way, I think everybody here, if the Republicans were saying we need new funding for the border bill, and the Democrats were saying no, let's just agree to fund the things that we currently have funded, and then we can debate the border bill, and the Republicans said no, we're not going to vote on the spending, of course that'd be the Republican shutdown.
No, you would just say they're the majority.
Of course.
No one would say. You would just say they're the majority. That's all. That would be what.
And they don't want to keep the government closed as the majority. Funny that.
So okay, multiple things here. One, like the Democrats said, like, hey, we're going to fight for what I believe to be a worthy cause, and I think most of the country feels is a worthy cause. Keeping those subsidies, because that's going to directly affect them. That's going to directly affect their pocketbooks, right? Open enrollment for ACA.
Republicans actually.
Open enrollment for ACA is, I believe, is happening now. People are seeing the prices rise, and they need relief. The Democrats were going to fight for that. That was something I could get behind, right? Like, Democrats have refused to fight up until now. They haven't done fucking shit. But that was something I get behind. It's interesting, the timing of this surrender. Mm-hmm. So so we have if Democrats thought like this was a losing fight, right, or a fight that was going to hurt them, then they would have done it before the election, right, because it's going to hurt us before the election, so let's do that, right? But they thought, oh, we have an advantage, right? And so they waited after the election, but then they're like, oh yeah, we don't give a fuck about this, right? We don't actually care. And so they capitulated immediately. And this plan was in motion a while ago. So like last week, right? So now we have reporting, and I can send you guys a report. We have reporting from the American Prospect talking about how this was a plan by a Democratic leadership to do exactly this. Now, Chuck Schumer did not vote to end the shutdown, right? He didn't vote to do that. And at first, I was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. I was talking to Bam about this last night. I was actually trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. But it was very wrong. It was very wrong of me to do this. It was very wrong for me to do this. Because I started learning a bit more about this. First of all, another person who did vote for it, one of the 8, is Dick Durbin. Dick Durbin in the Senate is the number 2 and within the Democrats, right? Within the Democratic leadership, right? This has Democratic leadership fingerprints all over it. Right, the number 2 in the House, Senate, Dick Durbin, doesn't do it without Democratic leadership approval, right? And that's Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer, and according to the reporting, Chuck Schumer was in contact with this like caucus of Democrats, right, the entire time. He was talking to them, like they had presented this plan beforehand, like in a meeting to Democrats, or to like a caucus meeting with the full Democratic Senate, right? They brought this up. They're going to do this. Like a lot of the other senators revolted, but Chuck Schumer was in contact with them all the time. He wanted them to negotiate. But then he doesn't himself do it, right? He gets like what our friend Scott was talking about. You don't want to call them safe seats. Call them seats that aren't up for re-election, right? He gets the Democrats who won't be up for re-election next cycle, maybe the next cycle or the cycle after that, right? Some of them 6 years out, right? So the ones who will take the least blowback, right? And also 2 people, Dick Durbin, I believe, and Jeanne Shaheen, I believe the 2, who are leaving Congress, who already announced they're retired. Right, so these people aren't going to get any blowback. He sends them out to do the dirty work, and then he himself says, "Well, I didn't vote for it, and I want to continue the fight." This is paid opposition. This is paid opposition.
I want someone to deal with the 50 million people.
Lose. They didn't. So they got.
There's one seat.
If they're Muslim, we call it Takia. I'm just saying.
I'm almost done.
There's the thing is left with Takia.
Had like this whole time, what they got the country behind, what they sold to their voters, right, was that we understand there's pain here. Right, we understand this. Right, and again, to be clear, pain inflicted on him by Donald Trump, right, because he didn't want to fulfill the SNAP beneficiaries, right? He didn't want to do that. That's Donald Trump's pain.
No, also the troops not being paid. That's not Donald Trump's pain. We can't control that.
I understand. Hold on, I understand that. That part, I'm just pointing out the SNAP part, but I understand the other.
No, you have to point out all of it, or don't have the conversation.
Okay, don't worry, I'll do it. Right? Yes, other people were being hurt. Right? I'm literally making that point. I'm literally making that point right now.
You're minimizing.
Democrats made a promise to their voters. Hey, we understand pain. You're going through some pain, right? But we think this is a worthy fight because what happens afterwards, right, is that Republicans rob you of a portion of your paycheck, right? That's going to come out of your pocket. So to save you, we think this is a worthy fight. If they didn't think they could win the fight, right? If as Bam says, right? Well, Republicans aren't going to move. They were going to move. They're falling apart. But if as Bam, we're going to take his word for it. If as Bam said, Republicans weren't going to move, they knew that. Well, then what was the point of the fight in the first place?
No, there has to be
other than to lie to the voters.
No,
other than to lie to the voters.
You're wrong. I'm giving you the answer. I'm telling you why. What you just
One second. Everyone the Republicans had on the table for 3 weeks now.
If like the individuals within the Democratic Party who usually surrender, Chuck Schumer first among them, right, were the ones who did this, right? This was all fake. There was no actual fight happening, right? They got nothing after it all ended, right? Almost nothing.
Yes, they did.
After it all
ended.
They
got 14 electoral victories, and then they could stop fighting.
Yeah, then they got
and then a promise to the Republicans would talk about the things they like. A promise.
Democrats put you through this pain, right? Democrats put you through this pain, and they did it for nothing. Remember this. Remember this in the future. Remember what Democrats
lying to you.
I want to hard disagree. I think this is an important point of distinction.
Exactly.
No, I want to hard disagree just on one point. They didn't do it for nothing. They did it for the only thing they care about, which is winning power. They do not give a fuck about people starving.
No,
they do not give a fuck about government.
I mean, to be fair, no one was starving.
Whether or not they offended. They don't give a fuck about whatever these pretend things they act like they care about. And the same thing is true of Republicans. Now, just to clarify, I just want to make two things clear. Number one, the clean resolutions that you say, Bam says, I don't like that terminology. I'm not sure why, but this is Biden's bill, right? This is Biden's funding under the Biden administration. It's just to maintain the Biden administration's, spending bills. That's what Democrats say we cannot accept. We refuse to vote for it.
Because
that's absurd.
Well,
funding is changing. We're acting like nothing changes.
Those are two different.
No, they're all part of the United States. They're all a part of the exact same thing.
That's two different. Those are two different things. When you're talking about whether you're spending entitlement, no, it is because like the big beautiful bill as a specific spending thing. There are certain there are certain entitlements and certain things you can't touch in certain bills. Just because it's an omnibus bill doesn't mean that you can do in that one bill spending cuts or spending increases in every area of the government. Like these are separate categories.
But you don't just say this is the exact same as Biden when it's not. We understand that we've had legislation.
But it is the same.
It is literally the same of those government agencies.
I have too much.
No, you just don't understand what's going on. That's why you don't understand what a clean bill is.
No. You people are too intelligent.
That's why you don't understand what a safe seat is. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Everything that goes against the Democrats is a new made-up Republican conspiracy theory.
No, I'm saying that the same reason we talk about I'm saying Donald Trump uses words uses words and the Republican Party adopts them and like spits them out over and over again, and we pretend that that's like the norm of how we speak in Congress.
Yeah, I'm using words right now.
What I'm pointing to is like we're not talking about the same Donald Trump and Thune and Mike Johnson would not come out now and say that we're going to spend the exact same amount of money as we were spending under the Biden administration.
No, they're two different things.
I know they're two different things, but
there's discretionary and entitlements.
But they're
okay. The big beautiful bill is discretionary spending.
No, it also affects entitlements.
It affects in terms of entitlements, what kickbacks could go to states for Medicare and Medicaid spending on the basis of immigration status. But even still, and that is separate from what we were talking about. The big beautiful bill is a bill based on discretionary spending.
No, but
the funding of the government is entitlement spending. No. That's why certain things can't be in the big beautiful bill, and that's why certain things in the budget can't be things. We're talking about two different areas of spending that require two different votes.
No, I'm not going for bullshit. I
understand. Okay, well, everything about how the government works is. You've been lying through your fucking teeth this whole time to make an argument.
Big beautiful bill, absolutely.
You don't know what a safe spending is. You don't know what safe seat is. You don't know what discretionary spending is. You don't know what entitlements are. You don't know what a clean resolution is. You're just lying about terms to try and support your argument.
Let me have a good response.
I'm not scared. What the fuck are you talking about?
Let me respond. The big beautiful bill absolutely created changes to the
we got an internet tough guy here, guys.
Eligibility requirements for Medicaid. There were also absolutely cuts to. They said they were saving Medicaid by cutting over $700 million in the big beautiful bill.
Biden said we were beating
an impact over entitlements. That was a lie.
They're not cutting the funding because it's discretionary spending. What they are doing is they are cutting the eligibility requirements for any reimbursements in states based upon immigration status and clarifying where that goes. Okay, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Literally, like you shouldn't be here. You just don't understand how government works.
It's also work. They're adding work requirements too.
Yeah, there was work requirements. 20 hours.
I didn't know what I was talking about, but now
I'm gonna move this a little bit. I'm gonna do something very Trumpian.
I thought the same thing.
And we're gonna use a new word, and it's called pattern.
That's why I love the government shutdown.
It's called pattern recognition. That is a thing that separates sentient creatures and higher level thinking creatures from lower level thinking creatures. And in this room we have a plethora of different creatures. It seems some of us have gotten wise and we've recognized patterns, such as the Dems are strategic snakes that only give a shit about keeping themselves in power. Some people are
and Republicans.
Sure, some of them are. But but specifically in the Dems right now, they are led by a specific group of these strategic snakes. And luckily, some people on the left, like Prime, have, they're intelligent. They've come to recognize this pattern. While other people, like Band here, clearly have not recognized this obvious pattern, because how many times are they going to do the strategic snaky thing to stay in power and then get caught and people predict it and they go, well, that's only going to happen if they're strategic snakes, and then suddenly guess what? They do it and it happens exactly that way. At some point, we just have to start calling a spade and admit these people are evil fucks that don't give a shit about the American people, and the Democratic Party needs to be disbanded as a whole. I mean, because that's really
politicians.
Are we not? No, wait. I'm about to say, honestly, I don't want to. I'm going to say this, and I hate that I say it because I feel like he's going to try to respond. Like you tried to say it was a bad thing that the Congress people act to be reelected. The only reason that's what you should want from your government to do, it's built into the system. You should want them to respond to the will of the people so they can get reelected.
Yeah, but when you do paid opposition, just like what Chuck Schumer said, but just like what the Prime said, listen. If I play both sides against himself to get myself a win, you're bamboozling the American people and you're doing it at their own disadvantage because they accomplished nothing with the deal. They gave in on everything. No. They literally, this is the only thing they got were seats that they were basically already going to win. They maybe got a couple that were close, but like we're probably going to go their way anyway. This is another blue ripple little situation. They barely got anything in their little bill that they got done. They barely got anything agreed to, and then they gave it all up for a promise. And we all know nobody's going to follow through on that promise. I wouldn't. You wouldn't. Jesus wouldn't. Nobody will. And you have to be damn near retarded. You have to be damn near retarded now at this point not to recognize the pattern that the Dems keep doing. And I'm sorry, but that's what you're doing right now.
Okay,
I know.
So let's deal with the 50 million people that are impacted by this. Prime, I want you because the rest of the people are Republicans who would find if the 50 million.
Corey, you're a Republican.
You really don't know this.
I'm not a Republican. That's why I'd be fine with
I'm not a Republican.
I got 2 libertarians.
I love you, my BB. Okay, I would never talk about you like that way. I'm going to deal with Prime.
Corey's the most lefty person on this panel.
Is the childish framework he is? We're gonna deal with this in real time, live.
Okay.
When you say there would have been some pain, what would you do if 3 months from now, no federal workers have received any paychecks? We're down to what, 20%, maybe 10-20% of air traffic being flown, flights canceled. Are you acting like these things are nothing and they could just keep going on forever? I want you to deal with that. What were you doing with the actual people who were losing out on no longer having to pay SNAP benefits, who were losing out on not having their pay, and the flight travel issues going into the holiday season, and how that wouldn't have had any negative impact on the people, and how that wouldn't have eventually had negative impact on the Democrats?
My problem with what you've just said is that, like, hold on. My problem with what you just said is that it doesn't take into account the planning stage, right? So, okay, Donald Trump is a known quantity, right? Everyone understands Donald Trump here at this point, right? What kind of person he is, how he operates, how he's likely to respond. So the Democrats planned this shutdown. And according to you, right? Even in the embedded in the hypothetical, I disagree with this part, but embedded with the hypothetical is that Donald Trump is impossible to move.
Well,
so that means
I didn't say that. I said on day one. I'm saying at this point.
No, I can adjust, right? That he may be possible to move, but it'll be so far in the future that destruction will be so complete, right, that it won't be worth it, right?
No, you didn't know that on day one. I'm saying that you used the information.
But of course we did.
No, you didn't.
But of course we did. Of course they did, right? Like if you had asked me on the first day, hey, would Donald Trump easily just give up on this?
I didn't say easily.
I'd say, of course not.
No, I'm saying that you have to have a diminishing point of like there's a timeline. Like, oh, okay, this is a worthy fight that we should absolutely
sure. What do you think?
And then you have to have a date of like, oh, okay, should we continue this through Thanksgiving? Probably not.
So
that on day one, that would be the plan.
So how is that the Republicans' fault if the Democrats come up with a plan to intentionally stop the Republicans from getting a spending bill
I'm not
passed?
dealing with the fault right now. So we're talking about people who are being affected right now. Keep up with the conversation.
This is hold on.
Fuck. Oh, what was you say?
Well, of course you don't want to deal with the fault because that would show who's at fault.
That was the question.
50 million people. He doesn't want to deal with the 50 million people. He wants to deal with that. That's fine. But the reason why you want to deal with that only is because you have to admit. It's because you have to admit that the Dems purposely hurt those 50 million people just to get elected.
Let them talk if you add something else. Say
sure. Hold on. Hold on. Okay. One. So I'm gonna get to your question, right? I'm laying it out.
Yeah. The
planning stage. Mm-hmm. Like if we knew exactly who Donald Trump was, right? Donald Trump and the Republicans, and just Republicans in general, not even just Donald Trump, right? Republicans in general have fought when it comes to government shutdowns, right? They have proven themselves like extremely difficult to move, and Democrats almost always lose these fights. They lose these fights. So if you didn't have a plan to actually put on pressure enough to break them, then you shouldn't have done it in the first place. So in fact, you put yourself in the worst position. And just one thing I'll say, and then I'll talk about what you're saying, right? What you're asking. Like if Democrats can't win now, in this moment, when they had maximum leverage, right? You'll have to like sift through like the sand and find the little nuggets of gold and explain to us what that is, right? Because there's a whole mountain of a shit, right? You're gonna have to go through. I'm gonna hear you out. And you're gonna tell me what these wins were. But in a second, right? If Democrats had a maximum leverage, if in this moment, right, after a great win last week, which I disagree with my friend Gibbs here on that, right? I think Democrats did fantastic. They massively shifted the electorate, even in places where they lost, right? They moved it like by sometimes dozens of points, right, between elections.
Look at the spending.
in terms of Democrats' favor.
The Democrats way outspent the Republicans. They bought an off-year election, dude.
We can debate.
I agree.
We'll come back to that, Brian. We'll come back to that.
I agree. Let's give money out of politics.
Are all the elections bought?
yeah, like all of bought. Yeah, sure. Let's get money out of politics. If you want to work with me on that, let's do that. In any case, right? I think it was a massive win. But in that moment, right, immediately after, when the public is in their favor, right, when they're blaming Republicans for the shutdown, in this moment they couldn't win, then they can never win, right? This was their maximum leverage. After that, they're going to get rolled the entire rest of the Trump second term. To my Republican colleagues here, right, my right leaning colleagues, you have won. I don't want you to understand what just happened now. You have won.
Yeah.
Like we have won. Every fight.
I'll
get to you. I haven't forgotten. Every fight from here on out, they're going to lose. They're going to lose. They have nothing better than this one moment, and they lost here. So break out the banners. You already won. Then, sorry. So back to
I'm taking my victory lap. Thank you, Bob.
Bam. Here's why I think like what you're asking me is bullshit, right? Because it wasn't as if the damage was actually being done like each day, right? So like the shutdown has lasted like 41 or 2 days, right? Yeah, right. There wasn't damage being done each and every day. The damages come with a missed paychecks, right? So there are 2 points that we have to be concerned about here, right? One is SNAP beneficiaries, right? And they get paid, my understanding, if I'm wrong, someone can correct me, they get paid at the first of the month. That's what I believe, right? If I'm wrong, let me know. That was like the big thing. Now they didn't know they weren't going to get at first that this was going to happen because SNAP has never been affected by shutdowns previously. So maybe they didn't factor that in, but Trump clearly made that part of the calculations like quickly afterwards. But the big thing would be the government paychecks, right? That would be the points of like maximum political pressure against the Democrats, right? Mm-hmm. The Democrats didn't time their surrender for the paycheck. The Democrats timed the surrender till right after the election. That's my issue.
Like the day after,
right? Like, yeah,
literally the day after.
They were already negotiating the day after.
Yeah, it was literally as soon as it was done.
So it wasn't like they like the day after another missed paycheck for our government officials, for the aviators and the military and all that. That's when like, oh, okay, this is too much. We got to surrender. No, as soon as the election was done, as soon as they got what they wanted, they fucked off.
No,
what I'm saying,
they don't care about empty bellies. They only care about power. Also, another thing was they didn't want the filibuster to get nuked because they knew if the Democrats ever take power again, they might actually have to do something.
Well, he keeps talking about the 50 million. He keeps talking about the 50 million going hungry. The Dems caused that. The Dems caused that. That's why you don't want to sign fault.
Wait a minute,
yeah, the Dems don't.
The Dems made 50 million people go hungry.
You haven't said anything about the minimizing of air traffic control going into the busiest travel day in the United States.
Yeah, that's terrible. The Democrats did.
Can I say something really quick?
They chose to do that. That's the point I was making.
Very quick breaking news. It passed through the Senate, so it's on its way to the House. Okay. Any chance of this not going to the Senate's done. It's passed. So the 8 Democrats voted in favor with the Republicans.
Right. And you're also, I think you're wrong about the day-to-day thing. The SNAP benefits were going out. The SNAP benefits were going out. Like say
SNAP's going back out.
Like slow, like days at a time, weeks at a time. Like they were coming out now. Like people were getting paid.
No.
Not just
I could only get so erect.
Normal schedule.
On normal, but it wasn't on normal schedule.
Yeah. I know. I'm saying that like
Black women was starting to lose weight again. Fuck.
like when the on November 1st, basically, that was the point of maximum paint pressure, right? Like the half payments going out is easing pressure, right? Not that it's solving the problem, but it's easing pressure when the payments are slowly going out. That's easing pressure on the Democrats. That's why they fought so hard for them, right? Because they needed that to go out. That put them in a bind with parts of the electorate. So yeah, whatever. In terms of the holiday, right? The Thanksgiving holiday that's coming up, right? And the travel. Well, that's maximum pressure on the president. That's the thing. So I can't accept.
If the babies were dead on the street and we took pictures of them, that would be even more maximum pressure. Like you're not dealing with these are real people being affected. That's what I'm saying. Like,
I know the Dems use those people as bargaining chips.
I'm absolutely doing that. No, I'm absolutely doing that. I understand what's happening to these individuals, and I'm going to understand. I'm understanding what the Republicans are about to do to them with the ending of the ACA subsidies. Right? It's been a big fucking thing. That's why I thought this was worth fighting for in the first place. Right? I get like the damage Republicans are about to do, so I understand it. I'm saying that like in that moment, like you think that this political pressure is a one-way street. It's not. Donald Trump was being blamed for this.
So if does it matter who's blamed? Like if you were going to be homeless next week, they say, "Oh, you can have health insurance, and you can be homeless, and you can be homeless." Would you? Which would you pick in that situation?
Depends if I'm sick or not. Right? It depends if I'm sick or not.
So I'm saying that better
for me to have. Like,
but yeah, health insurance is important. And Democrats are making that fight,
and people are going to be homeless again for that, right? Like
a much smaller group.
I'm not saying. Hold on, you're acting like I'm saying this is costless. I'm not saying it's costless. I'm saying
no. You're saying that the healthcare things are
worse.
But
I'm also saying that if you weren't prepared to win it, then don't fight it.
That's not true.
Then don't fight it.
That's not true.
They don't fight it.
You can't. No, because you're making an unreasonable expectation. Right. You're saying if you can't tell the future, then you shouldn't do anything at all with 100% certainty. No,
don't get into fights. You're not going to win.
No, I was about to say you go through the longest shutdown in U.S. history, and then you eventually
not even willing to win.
For nothing.
Fights are not even willing to win.
The Democrats are taking the same deal that Thune had on the table 3 weeks ago. They gained nothing.
Yeah,
that's not true.
This was almost the same deal they had.
It's not actually because 3 weeks ago, John Thune wasn't requiring the guaranteed job back of all the laid off workers.
That's what I'm saying. It's almost the same thing. Well,
that's a massive difference.
That's a big one, dude.
People being employed.
It's a completely different bill now.
But that's only reversing the damage that was done during the shutdown that the Democrats just caused. Right? That's what that does. So that's reversing the reduction in force, the RRFs, right? Like the reduction in force that Trump did, basically laying off people, right? So those layoffs are null and void now, right? All you've done is reset back to the beginning of the shutdown.
I need to hear from what an intelligent, handsome, smart brother. I leave my sweet baby. Whose fault do you think it is?
It sounds like the Democrats are Hamas and the Republicans are Israel. and the people are the Palestinians, right? The starving people are the Palestinians. Mm-hmm. So the Democrats seem to invade and infiltrate, and the Republicans seem to give fuck deals and bullshit ceasefires is honestly what it sounds like. But right now they kind of got it on it's the Democrats' fault. I understand where you're coming from, as in like they fought the fight, and then they in a choice between 50 million people or 5 million people, they chose the 50 million people to get their food. But to Gibbs's point, and I guess everyone's point, is like they're saying this wouldn't have happened if the Democrats wouldn't have tried to fight. Like the 50 million people wouldn't have lost their nothing. They ultimately changed because they could have saved those 5 million without affecting those 50 million. And it sounds like from Gibbs and Lactoid that the Democrats used the 50 million people, right, as a ploy. Like they went into this fight knowing they were going to lose, i.e. the Hamas thing, right? They went into a fight knowing they were going to lose, and they got the sympathy of the people, right? Of like, hey, look, the Republicans are shutting down the government. Now 50 million people
base libertarian take happening right now.
Right? Yeah, he's absolutely right. Yeah.
And then And then when everyone realized that 50 million people weren't going to eat, then the Democrats were like, all right, cool, we'll come to that's what it sounds like happened. And I think you're focusing on like, well, yeah, the Democrats had to do something because the Republicans would have taken the 50 million and the 5 million.
They didn't come to the table until they won their election.
But like,
it's not
to Prime, what Prime
EBT.
and Gibbs are getting at is like, we never had to risk the 50 million.
Yeah,
we never had to.
Yeah, if you were going to give in,
Prime agrees with the fight. Prime just believes that the Palestinians should have just fought to the last.
No. Prime agrees with the fight. Here's the difference, though. Prime agrees with the fight. Right. However, he's saying if you're going to put the 50 million people on the line, then let's fucking have the fight. Don't sit here. No. It's even if you're going to stand on your beliefs,
get them to
then
riot,
these people need to feel the pain too of what those 5 million are going to feign, and then they're going to all fight together, and we're going to push more after just the election. But since they got elected, we actually didn't give a shit about the 5 million people. We just did that to cause pain to you in order to guarantee our win, which is exactly what happened, and that's why it's so evil and bad.
I think the fight was eminently winnable. That's difference between.
That's a whole thing.
The Democrats do what Democrats do is they say like we were in a bind, right? Like when they get in these moments, and it's happened many times, like throughout the decades, right? When these moments when they're required to fight, right, either directly against Republicans or to advance, right, meaning like do something new, like raise them in the wage, right? They'll find any sort of legislative roadblock, and they'll say, "There's nothing we can do. There's nothing we can do." Right?
They had a harder fight than anyone else in U.S. history.
That's right. Yeah, I know. Then what? Then don't do the fight. If you can't win the fight, then don't do the fight.
That's not true. That's not. You can't predict the future. Like, okay, Ali, my big thing here is.
I want to keep moving. So I want to move past this, right? Like, I will look you up the last way, but like, I want to move past this and get to like the main topic. I want to bring everyone else in, right?
We can kind of tie them together, anyways. I'm sure they'll.
Yeah.
Venn diagram.
This is what you argue that the Democrats are doing. They wanted to move past it. You should stay. You stay and fight, Prime. You can win, right?
No.
He's trying to move to the topic.
That's what I'm saying. He's trying to move. What? Don't move, Prime. Stay, fight. That's what you want. Let's do it for the rest of the time, because that's what you think we should do. We shouldn't have a conversation. We should just stay in the fight, because maybe you could.
I think that's what you think.
No, my argument was based on the fact, like, I could even see. I even gave Prime a hypothetical. Like I said, I could respect his position, because it's okay to believe that they can win. Like, I even think there's a point you win, but and you can disagree on what that timing looks like. But I think if you're going to shame something, I think you have to have some point where you cut your losses. Like, as they say this in stocks, they say within it. Can a stock always bounce back? Absolutely. But you place in the stop loss at some point. Like, if Prime said that, like, okay, take it through Thanksgiving, take it into the Christmas season, and if by the Christmas season it doesn't seem like the Republicans are shifting on their position, at that point you come to the table, enough people are affected. But Prime doesn't have a cutoff date. He's just like, they eventually win, probably, and to add the Republicans back. Actually, I'm going to add Lactoid. Lactoid, I think you're an honest young man. Do you believe that did you see the Republicans like?
It's Bam's panel now.
Sorry, what? What was the question?
Did you like, because Prime believes like, oh, the Republicans were shaking in their boots. They were going to give it all up any day now. It was probably 24 hours from capitulating everything to the Democrats. Did you see it did you see that, like, oh, okay, the Republicans were absolutely about to give up everything? Or
no, I don't think it was 24 hours. I think that it seemed like it was just bizarre, and I think the Democrats were just being dishonest and just flat out lying about this. But they were winning the messaging battle, I think, to some large extent. And a big part of that is because most American voters are just sort of like these kind of sheep that like wander in whatever direction. And it's like, oh, Trump is the president, the government shut down, therefore, right? I mean, and this has been the political fucking thing going back how many fucking decades? I mean, this is what every president has said, like, oh, this is, they're in power, they're irresponsible, et cetera, cut out all the nuance, cut out all the discussion. I don't think it was 24 hours. I think the Republicans probably would have held out for longer. I think they would have like kept pushing the messaging battle. But if they kept losing on the messaging, I think they would have eventually capitulated. They would have had to.
No, but what does that eventually look like? Are you saying like within the month of November?
Oh, that's tough. I in terms of an exact prediction, I don't know.
I like that. That's my whole argument. I think you can disagree with the date, but Prime says like, oh, if you go into the fight, you only do it if you're willing to take it all the way to the end and win. And I'm like, no, I think that even responsible politicians can eventually put in the stop loss.
Hold on. Sorry. Not maybe I should adjust myself. If it wasn't that you need an absolute win, right? Like get something out of it. It's possible that you go into a fight and you don't get everything you want, right? But like you did advance your cause, right? And in that case, like it's not what we wanted, right? But we'll have to take this win and live to fight another day.
You have a massive advancement in awareness.
Nothing. They got fucking nothing.
You have a massive advancement in awareness.
They got awareness.
The Democrats shut the government down.
Oh, they got awareness, all right.
They're aware that they lost meals. They're aware that they lost paychecks, right? And they're aware that their health care costs are going to go up.
And
right?
as you said, they blame Republicans for that.
Good word.
And as you said, the people blame Republicans.
And they know the Democrats didn't do jack shit about it. Hold on.
So, Bam, is there any evidence that anyone could ever possibly show you that this is actually a Democrat shutdown and not a Republican? I'm curious if you're capable of actually thinking.
Chuck Schumer would have to come down and have it written on his dick. For him
is there any evidence that anyone could possibly show you that this is actually a Democrat shutdown?
I'm gonna give the honest reality of this. The honest truth of it is the fault thing doesn't matter. The fault thing is all about
what have you been talking about?
There's no fault isn't. There's no factual.
You don't think it matters to 50 million people?
No,
you don't think it matters to 50 million people whose fault that was that baby Timothy didn't get to eat that day?
No, you're definitely those people, and that's noted.
I'm using matter, but maybe it's a misunderstanding of the way I'm translating. I'm saying that it's not a fact or not. Fault is a matter of messaging.
I don't care which way you think. Is there any evidence that could ever possibly be shown to you that this is a Democrat shutdown?
That's pretty postmodernist of you. The truth is just a matter of messaging.
No, I'm saying that there's things.
Maybe our adherence to the truth is getting in the way of compromise.
If there was written documents between Schumer and Pelosi that said, "Hey, we're going to shut this government down, and as long as we get X, Y, Z, we're going to give in and not give in anything," and it was fully planned, would that be? And they had it, and someone handed you that document, would you believe that it was a Democrat shutdown then?
Again, that's not what fault means. Like it's like in a
so
in
the
a
answer is
basketball.
No.
It's like in a basketball game.
Evidence at all? That's what
Johnny missed. Johnny missed the last shot.
Sounds like it's not
at the end.
You're not really thinking. I'm not. You're just reorganizing varying bigotries in your mind when you come up with this question.
I'm not. I'm answering your question because I'm just dealing with the reality of it. But like if you're at a basketball game, it's a tie game, or if you're down by one, and I pass the ball to Lactoid. Lactoid takes the last shot, and Lactoid misses. It like framework.
Unrealistic hypothetical. Okay.
Well, sure, but yeah, and if Lactoid misses a shot, a lot of people say like, God, this is Lactoid's fault. Lactoid missed the game. But
what if you pulled Michael Jordan in his prime and put Lactoid in there, and then they missed? Would it be your fault then, or would it be Lactoid's fault?
Don't ask me a question and not let me answer.
You'll just freak out the minute you get a question. Don't ask me a little more.
No, don't ask me a question. Don't let me answer.
Let Bam finish.
There's a perspective that people could run with and say that this was Lactoid's fault because Lactoid took that last shot and Lactoid missed it. But any other person in the game could have made one of their earlier misses.
Oh my
and it also would have.
When the Seahawks lost the Super Bowl because Pete Carroll chose not to run the ball on the 1 yard line, was it Pete Carroll's bad coaching decision that cost him the game, or was it any other 50 other things that could have led up to that moment? No, it was and this is the consensus thing agreed upon by experts. It was 100%. It was 100% Pete Carroll's fault. That's what's happening here.
I play football. Football is a game of inches. That's what we say. Like any one play, like not one player or thing affects the outcome.
I'm glad we understand that time is linear, right? And events precede others, right? And cause others. And
time is actually relative, Prime.
And so who can tell what fault is, right?
I didn't say who could tell. I'm just saying that.
I'm going to wrap this part up. So
he's right though.
Get, like in the meat of the main topic, right? So I'm going to ask a question to you all. And we can leave it at that. Hey, do you think so? What's in the bill is a promise, pinky swear? I don't know. But an agreement that in December, the second week of December, the Senate will have a vote on the ACA subsidies. Do you think that during that vote, when the Democrats have lost all of their leverage, right? Do you think there is a chance that Republicans will vote to reinstate the ACA subsidies?
Some will.
I'm going to go around. I'm going to ask everyone, right? Yes or no? Yes, they will reinstate, or no, they won't. Likely.
I don't think it wins. I agree with Bam. There might be a couple that might vote, but I don't think it wins.
Scott.
Republicans want to make it through the midterm.
I do think there is a chance. And the reason I think there is a chance is because what we've seen from this administration is a complete and utter breakaway from fiscal conservatism.
Okay.
Right? Like the Trump administration is about as socialist as FDR. And so because of that, I think if it depends upon the nature of what they think or what Trump is selling, Trump could come out literally tomorrow and talk about how the reason the ACA failed is because it didn't get funding and it wasn't done under his administration. He's going to have a big, beautiful, affordable ACA, and then they would just fund it. So like, I have zero faith. I went from like 2% faith to 0 faith that conservatives will have any level of fiscal conservatism. So if they think they can win by funding it and make it a Republican win, they absolutely will do it.
That's interesting. Kelly?
I'm going to go with, I almost hate to do it, but I'm going to slightly agree with Fabian because the ACA has been the Tom and Jerry for the Republican Party. They've been trying to get it for years and years, and they somehow just managed to keep tripping over their own shoelaces and just can never seem to get it done.
We kept the ACA.
And just at the last minute, what do you know? We got just the right amount of votes, and golly gee, it's going to keep going because, yes, Trump is a populist. He's not a typical conservative. He's unlike anything we've had in Republican. He's basically as close as we're going to get to a third-party candidate somehow getting into the White House. That's as close you're going to get in your lifetime.
Okay. Gibbs?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'll say this. I like if I was going to say right now, I would say there's no chance in hell. However, I do want to say that, yeah, there is a chance there might be AACA, but it ain't going to be the ACA all fucking want. I think that it goes through. Like, I'm going to maybe echo some of what they're saying since he's a populist, but if he puts an ACA through and it's funded, you're not going to get the ACA that come like y'all think y'all are going to get coming out the other side. Like that's
to be clear.
Trump.
My understanding of the bill, and if I'm incorrect, someone can let me know. Right, is that Democrats are the ones who are going to write this bill, right, to be voted on in December. So like whatever version is, I'm asking the up and down vote on that bill.
Yeah, up and down vote. No, up and down vote, absolutely not. But like if they put forth a bill and it goes, they have to modify it. Whatever gets put through,
there'll be writers.
Yeah, whatever
gets
whatever gets put through at the end, if it does make it through, and then what Trump gets in power and like gets it on his desk, and if he passes it, guess what? Whatever goes into effect is going to be Trumpian. Like, and y'all aren't going to get what you want. He's going to get whatever he's selling to you that y'all were stupid enough to let him have. That's what he's going to do. Like, it's, I hate to break it to you, but that's the way it works with him.
No, I just want, I'm just trying to get through this so we can do what's left of our time. We can get to the topic at hand. But sorry, go ahead, Corey.
You're muted.
Sorry about that. If I'm a betting person, I would say unlikely. I would not place that bet of that happening.
Okay. I'm gonna go to Ali, but then I'll give you the last word, Bam.
It sounds like, according to the other Republicans, that it might. So I'll just agree with Fabian on this one.
Bam.
But I'd say 50-50. The reason in particular I say 50-50 is because some Republicans have already came out and made saying that like, oh, okay, if we just need to extend the ACA subsidies for a year, like they'd be willing to vote yes for that simply because they want to make it through midterms because they understand that like it's going to be a bad look, and it would also it could also be twisted with, like I said, if Trump grants some level of approval, somebody whispers in his ear the right way, it could be twisted into a win for the Republicans. If the Democrats do go through this long shutdown, the Republicans are saying throughout it, just open the government, we can talk about it, and then it ends up passing anyways. Like the Republicans say, see, we're common sense people. The Democrats hurt you for no reason. We like none of this was necessary. They could have just passed
that messaging would never work.
I think
people are way too retarded to think back into the past 2 weeks.
But
like I'm just saying the majority of the electorate isn't going to add layers of what happened in the past with Republicans now and like form a cohesive thing. They're going to think about what's happening right now. How much do my groceries cost? What's like that's how they vote.
Yeah, but so I've heard some Democrats talk about like, oh, okay, the Republicans, we need to make sure Republicans are a part of whatever bill gets voted on. I think if they include Republicans in it, and again, they're not going to get something permanent, but if they can find something that extends just until midterms, you have a 50% chance that some Republicans are like, I kind of want to like this. I don't want this to hurt me in the election. If I can say I voted for this now and then like F it.
So you accept the framing that politicians only vote based off of their electoral victories and power.
But I said that's a good thing. That's what you want them to do.
So
you wouldn't want them to do anything else.
So I lied. So I'm going to say one more thing, and then we'll move on. I promise. One more thing, right? So here's what's got to happen, right? Here's what's got to happen after now. In December, what we're asking the Republicans in the Senate is to vote in a bill that they don't support. The Democrats have no leverage over them.
Some Republicans have said they support.
They've got public statements. Republicans broadly. Right. But no, that's fair. That's a fair criticism, right? That broadly have said they don't support. That Donald Trump said doesn't support, at least for now. And that they have no leverage on. They have to win that vote, right? And then, as far as I know, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong, right? Then within that bill that this shutdown bill just passed, there is no guarantee that the House will take up the vote.
They probably would.
So Mike Johnson can just not bring it up. He could just like the Speaker of the House could just not bring it up, or even if they bring it up, then you have to get the House Republicans to get on board as well.
It would actually be easier to get the House on board than the Senate.
But it's just another. But I'm just saying that the road to get the ACA subsidies, like at this point in time, goes through all those hoops. Now it's not impossible, especially if Brent Scott is correct, right? If Trump decides to, well, these are my subsidies now, right? And I like them now, and so like we're gonna go. If that happens, well then
it's my STEMI checks.
Like, exactly right. So 100%, really good point, right?
He's a populist.
If that's the
He's
case,
not like
well then there's a much bigger chance, right? But I'm saying these are all the hoops that you have to go through. Just putting that out there. Okay, let's move on, please. At least to me, really, because I allowed this to go on for a while. Quickly, but before we go, two things. Super chat from FQ. She says, in other news, lol, has anyone watched Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein? I have not.
I started watching it. It's pretty good.
I heard it wasn't good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I'm about an hour in.
I've heard it was really good. I've been watching it myself. But
never even heard of it.
No,
it's got a lot of really good actors in it. I'll say that. Like I'm about an hour in. It's pretty good.
I saw the Frankenstein.
Who the fuck watches half a movie?
Bro, me when I'm busy, bitch. Like I'm like, what? I don't know what you're doing all day, but if I'm watching Guillermo del Toro and
if I'm busy, I don't start a movie.
Well, okay, I'm sorry that you have all this time. I have you this whole time, all this time, willy nilly. I get hour segments.
Did you watch The Irishman? Did you watch The Irishman in one sitting?
Like I understand.
Yes, I did. I'm with Scott on this one.
I mean, I got only enough time. I only got enough time to like watch what I can
a bit weird.
in order.
I don't know. That just sounds weird to me to start a movie knowing that you don't have enough time to finish a movie. That's weird.
I mean, how do you stay current on cultural?
It's time for episode 2. Like, yeah, I'm Scott. I'm 100% on board. Yeah, it's bizarre behavior. What's up?
Like, just wait a couple days until you have like.
Well, I don't have. Then I never get to watch the movie. Then I never get to watch.
You don't get the experience.
My friend Gibbs is too busy being a capitalist, right? He doesn't have time for this bullshit, all right? But go ahead, Bam. You want to say something? Oh, he had to leave. That's right.
Oh, okay. I thought he was just like, I would like to speak.
Like quite the outro.
Oh, yeah. So, okay. Yeah, I haven't seen it. I saw the Frankenstein. Netflix had on their, the splash page type thing, just like Frankenstein, and he looks dope as shit. I'm like, I didn't really know much about this movie, but
I got watch it right away.
I don't per se trust Guillermo del Toro to make a good movie, but I do trust him to make it look interesting and look great. Right? You know, like I've never seen anything by him that hasn't had like his own unique aesthetic to it that was impressive.
Yeah. So
but I haven't seen
about that. Okay. And all right, and this person Sean. Oh, it's Sean from okay. Your last name Robertson. Hello, hi. Robertson, thank you for the $5. Sean usually
don't do that. Like, don't put your name out there.
Oh yeah.
I've been doing it wrong this whole time.
That's crazy. Yes, yeah. Corey.
Google made that push. This was like years ago, right? To have your YouTube like have your like real name on it. Remember that? Like that there was a push. They created a second account.
All of them did. Yeah. Do you remember that? Like it was like every website was pushing that for a while. Like they were like trying to link it. It was before doxing.
The kindness, Sean. It's really kind of you. Anyone else you want to consider helping the channel, subs to the channel, give subs if you're on Twitch, right? Follow the channel if you're on Twitch, and if you're on YouTube, consider subbing to the channel or supporting us with a super chat, right? We'll put it on screen. We'll have a conversation. I really do want to watch that Frankenstein thing. That's super interesting. But okay, let's get to like the main topic, which we've sort of already touched.
I'm sure.
And guys, we'll have to keep our intros quite short.
Not happening this time.
Fuck you. All right. Last Tuesday, Democrats won an off-year election day in an absolute landslide. Republicans took stunning losses across the board. In the wake of these defeats, Donald Trump has blamed the current government shutdown for the losses. But Trump was the one who pressured the GOP into the standoff in the first place. And furthermore, exit polls show that the economy was the number one decider in people's choices, not the shutdown. Does this loss indicate that Trump's second term has so far been unsuccessful? Is Trump to blame for this disaster? Or is this just an expected reverse swing in the political landscape, which is to be expected anytime after a president takes office? So as you can see, this is very much tied with the things we were just on. But I wanted to focus more on the election itself and like how we ended up in that first place, right? Maybe other people disagree with me. Maybe it was really the shutdown was what the thing that pushed Democrats over the edge, right? Or maybe it was something else, right? We'd love to hear your thoughts on that. But yeah, I mean, they did take a loss. There's no green shoots there, right? No hope for our Republican friends. And people look at this as a referendum on Trump. I mean, is that fair? Maybe it's not fair. So I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on this. We'll start with our friend Lactoid.
Yeah, you fuckers elected a communist. Crazy. I don't think you can just chalk it up to the government shutdown. I think the Republicans now have a good narrative surrounding the government shutdown. I think that Republicans are going to be good on that going forward, at least. I do think it was hurting them, and I think that probably has something to do with perhaps the extent. You do see, like in opinion polls, they're around the time of the shutdown, there is a significant decline in the approval rating of Trump. But that approval rating has been declining for months now. And a big part of that is there's plenty to criticize. Where do you want to start, right? There's the Epstein files that there's a lot to criticize Trump about. There is the effect of the tariffs, which, whether you like them or not, they were sold very differently in the way that they're turning out. The methodology of the tariffs was dumb. There have been, and immigration, ICE is doing things now that are getting a lot of headlines, and it's so obviously the case that media pundits are going to be hyper fixating on specific stories, specific things happening, saying, "Hey, look at this! Look how terrible this is, et cetera, et cetera." When a lot of it's been happening for decades, even under Democrat presidents, because enforcement of law is often ugly. When you have to go and arrest somebody, or you got to drag them out of a car, or you got to like swoop in, it sucks. It's not good. It's not fun to watch. Unless you're watching Cops, then it can be fun, depending on what kind of person they're going to arrest. But there's, I think, a narrative surrounding what ICE is doing now that is different than it was at the beginning of Trump's presidency, and the actual numbers of deportations, I don't think is high enough to really galvanize his base to make up for some of the support he's losing amongst his more moderate supporters when it comes to the immigration question as well. So, yeah, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if you see his approval rating continue to drop. I mean, it's probably going to get a bump now with the shutdown being over, but it's probably going to continue to drop pretty moderately. He's obviously he's got a floor. He's not going to drop. There's a certain number he's not going to drop below. But I think it's very possible that Republicans lose in the midterms.
Thank you so much, Scott. Please, time.
Yeah. So predominantly there are two things. One of which we've kind of already discussed ad nauseum, which is the effect of the shutdown. Right. I mean, obviously that had an effect. Voters are very, very narrow-minded, especially when it comes to their view of time. Right. So they kind of vote based off what is occurring in the present. Most people don't have the ability to think in like complex, low time preference thinking, unfortunately. The second thing I want to say is that most elections, especially off-year elections, especially the off-year election following the election of a president, are a referendum on the president, right? Because most voters, again, are too retarded to understand that they're not voting for the president, right? Like they're voting for a local election or for their governor, right? But they vote to punish or to celebrate the president. And more often than not, they vote to punish the current president, than to celebrate the president, because negative things get people out to vote more than positive things usually. That being said, Trump's president, when we look at, well, what is this referendum on? Well, I mean, Trump is just utterly failing in his ability to be anything other than an unlikable right-wing, socialist. He's one of the most socialist presidents we've had in a very long time. I mean, he increased taxes to an extreme degree. Those tax increases have been a dismal failure. He is constantly putting out, many of the constantly calling for more government. He has nationalized several industries, right? Which is an extreme socialist move, taking over 10% of Intel and, a lot of other smaller tech companies that people aren't aware of. And then what I think is, he's very cucked in a lot of his things too, right? I think people voted for a strong man in Trump, and he cucked to Israel hard. He cucked to corporations when it came to immigration, whether or not you agree or disagree with the immigration policy. He was like, oh, well, the hospitality and agriculture industry corporations called me, and, maybe we don't go too hard on those, on sucking corporate cock, for those people. We just want to make sure that Lupita, that came over here peacefully 20 years, gets sent back to Venezuela. But, we got to make sure that Monsanto gets all their money. Yes, I know it's not Monsanto. That's just the name you all recognize, because I recognize that you're all goldfish retards. Anyways, I think there is another failure that is perhaps the worst failure of Trump, and it's the one that nobody is talking about, which is that Trump gave zero energy whatsoever to trying to use his political power in local referendum elections. He barely did shit to support Winsome Earl Sears, despite the fact that she's just like, Trump's dick is so great. I'm MAGA. He didn't say shit negative about Abigail Spanberger. He just let her win. He had shit to say about Jay Jones, literally, having it leaked that he wanted the mother of their children to watch the children be tortured to death slowly so that she could finally change her opinion on guns and the fact that Abigail Spanberger, etc. Instead, he took all of his energy in politics to attacking Republicans, or more specifically to attacking the only fiscal conservatives, libertarian leaning, America First candidates, because he was so cucked to Israel and so sucking their dick that he just couldn't stand the fact that Thomas Massie and Rand Paul dared go against his socialist policies. So he put all of his energy on splitting the Republican Party and making sure that Republicans split from the populist MAGA retards to people that are like fiscally conservative or libertarian leaning, and put no energy on actually trying to help Republicans fighting against Democrats in these off-year elections. So of course, it was a sweep.
Okay, thank you so much. Kaylee, love to hear what you have to say.
To me, I say look at the spending, follow the money in this last election, and you will see that the Democrats spent an overwhelming majority of the money here. They needed a little morality boost, so they bought an off-year election. Now, as a Republican voter, here's my worried face for the midterms. See how worried I am? Golly gee, it's going to be a real tough one, because my prediction for the midterms is the exact same as it was 2 years ago, and it won't change. Okay, the Republicans are going to win the Senate. They're going to hold on to the Senate. The House, guess what? This election cycle and the next one, it's a coin flip. It's going to be a thin margin no matter who has it. And if you make a prediction, congratulations. The coin landed on the side that you wanted it to. But yeah, anybody who says they've got a hard, fast prediction, no, you don't. The House is going to be a thin margin for this and the next election cycle and the next presidential election cycle. So, but we Republicans are going to hold the Senate, which means, golly gee, the Supreme Court's safe for a little while longer. Republicans who cast your ballot in 2016, you actually cast your ballot in the most important election in American history, especially considering you were actually able to get Roe v. Wade overturned. And even then, we've still took the House after doing that. The Republicans took the House after overturning Roe v. Wade. And so I'm afraid, I'm not all that worried. I'm not all that worried. Yeah, Trump's done some things that are disappointing. He could definitely do a lot better, but you got to remember, he needs to release everything. But you have to remember, we American Christians are faced with the very real problem of we have a Republican Party that's willing to pay weak lip service to our Christian values and a Democratic Party that's openly hostile to our Christian values. So given that, yeah, the choice is rather clear. We would rather have the rule of imperfect Christians over the most consistent pagan. And with that, I yield the balance of my time.
I appreciate you, friend. Let's go to Ali.
So I actually saw the Mamdani one specifically because I don't really know too much about all the other local elections. I know just Mamdani was a bigger deal, and I saw that more as like a smack in the face to like the Democratic Party nationally. Clearly, we can bring people out to vote. Clearly, we can win the elections if with for the people on the left with their more left-leaning policies. I think it was 1 million people came out to vote or something from Donnie, which is like the most voters since in 60 years or some odd shit. So, I mean, I don't know. I've always said that the Trump presidency was just a Democratic loss, not a win for him. And so that's just the way I see this, is that like they're showing the Democrats, hey, we have the people to vote. You didn't get the vote out, for the presidency. Hopefully they do something for the midterm.
Yeah. Frank Gibbs.
Yeah, I actually kind of agree with at least part of what Ollie said. The election of Madami wasn't a big win for the Dems. If anything, it was rejection of the middle of the Democratic Party, right? It's the rejection of like the moderate, the lib, and more of the embracing of the progressive. This is the off year, right? This is the Dems, like KOE said, needed a big win, so they spent all the money, and they won in some elections maybe that were in bigger margins than people expected. But these are all elections I anticipated us as Republicans to lose. So I'm not crying over spilt milk. I didn't really think I was too worried about it. Now I'm not going to be too worried about it come midterms. There's a long way to midterms. Sure, could something happen, but I'm feeling pretty good about it. Because if anything, we're already seeing, after Madami got in office, we're already seeing problems between him and the governor of the state. They're already saying, she's already cracked down saying we're not doing the things that he's promised. And this is just another example of the Dems promising a lot of things and then capitulating as soon as they get elected. And I think this is going to be a message going forward, which is either you can get these extremists elected and lose the center of your party, or you have lily-livered baby back bitches as the leadership of your party who are going to capitulate to the Republicans and not get anything done and just want to guarantee that they're still in office. And I think that's the message that's going to really carry on into midterms. And so I'm feeling pretty confident. We'll see if that continues. I think when we're talking about immigration, maybe we can be a little bit more strict on it, a little heavier on it. But I think a lot of these even are starting to turn. I think people are starting to be like, okay, we've seen the highlighted crazy examples, but yeah, a lot of these people are getting busted, and we're seeing like people that are child predators and cartel members being sent back, and I think people are overwhelmingly in favor of that.
Okay. And finally, our friend Cord.
Yeah, I'll try to keep it brief, or I will keep it brief. I think it's largely a mild referendum on Trump's presidency, but then, as usual, it's not just one thing, but combined with the fact that pretty much all of, let's say, the failures or shortcomings of the Trump presidency that I think Lactoid pointed out, some of them, not all of them, at least not by my estimation, but yeah, all the criticisms that Lactoid said are valid. And I think there's the danger of also like reading too much into like the outcome of these elections. They might just be, sort of a one-off thing, and let's say not to get complacent. But I'll leave it there for now.
Okay. Okay.
He actually
please.
was short. He was the only one.
I can just say one thing. In the last 22 midterm elections, the off parties won 20 of them. So it's not just a coin flip. If we're talking about like historical standards, you would need to, in order for the Republicans to win in the midterms, they would need to break with what has been like consistent, predictable odds. They would need to beat them. They would need to beat predictable, consistent odds going back since the 1930s.
Trump did that in 2016. I mean, like, I'm just saying, like,
it's possible.
He's very good at defying convention.
Oh, the midterm is not about Trump specifically,
not conservatism.
That's
okay.
Well, no. What Corey just said, I think, is actually really important because Republican voters are some of the lowest propensity voters that you could possibly ask for. They don't show up unless Trump's on the ballot. They just don't bother. They just stay home. If Trump's on the ballot, yes, they come out. That's true. But if Trump's not on the ballot, they just look at what just happened.
Well, no, they're not spending on this election because they know spend the money on the midterms where it counts, because the Senate's all that matters, so that we can hold the Supreme Court. And pretty much, like with Trump's victories on the Supreme Court as is, the old chapter of the culture war was won and over. And if we can get one more seat on the Supreme Court, or if we can even just replace either Thomas or Alito, we've secured the conservative majority.
Look, I'm with you on the Supreme Court. I'm with you on the Supreme Court, and I'm not even like, I think we're probably aligning with what we would want to see. I'm just talking about like practical reality here. I don't see it being super likely the Republicans win this coming midterms. I think that 2028 is going to be a lot closer. I think that one's actually going to be hotly contested. But again, I mean, is Trump overall? I'm talking about in 2026 midterms, like the upcoming election. Do you think Trump's doing good enough, especially in opinion polling, and the Republican Party is doing good enough, especially in opinion polling, to beat the historical odds on this?
We'll see.
It's tough. It's really tough.
To me, the Senate's not moving. You might get a couple of seats, but it's going to stay in Republican control. That's my prediction right now, and that's all we need.
One more. Here's the wild card. The wild card here is the redistricting that's happening. If Article 2 of the Voter Rights Act is overturned to the Supreme Court level, and they're able to redistrict, maybe I'm wrong, I don't know the actual schedule on this, but if they're able to redistrict before the midterms, then I don't know. Then I don't know what's actually going to happen.
Because Prop 50 just passed California, right? Yeah, so like Texas is trying to push forward theirs where they would get likely to gain 5 seats. But if that goes forward, it's already passed in California to get rid of their independent commission. Yeah. Well,
for about 10 years.
I mean, the Texas one's already done.
It's suspended for a while.
Like the Democrats don't have much more seats they can
balance out.
The Republicans got plenty more. If we want to play that game, that race,
the Republicans will win that.
Yeah,
like Republicans will win that.
Like in Maine, look at the map of Maine and how much red there is, and there's not one single Republican representative in the House of Representatives in Maine. Okay, so they've already gerrymandered all they can gerrymander, and so like, if you really want to play this game, Dems, we can play it, but we'll finish it.
I'd have to look at it again, but from what I understand, the if all of them were gerrymandered, then the Republicans would gain slightly, right?
They would gain a lot.
Yes.
It would allow.
Yes, they would gain more than slightly.
They would gain the
especially, and that's not even factoring the Voter Rights Act. If Article 2 is removed, not only do they gain substantially, they gain like substantially. Like it's not even, and that's part of the reason why I don't know exactly like if that actually happens. like Republicans could underperform in the midterms, but potentially still keep hold of the House. It's possible,
right? But in order
that
to
happens.
the problem is like which states would engage in gerrymandering?
There's already a
which
ton of them.
wouldn't, right?
They've already
'Cause there-
started. All the
there's
Republican
like,
ones that can
well,
have
like
already started.
so. For example,
A lot.
right? Like for example, like we have states that have up until Trump have been reliable red, deep red states like Georgia and South Carolina.
Well, Georgia's
Like,
been
these are
purple for
purple
years.
states now.
Yeah.
No,
Right,
Georgia's
like,
been turning
these are
purple since
purple.
Bush.
Virginia,
Virginia's same
used to
thing.
be a purple state. It's a blue state.
Yeah, both
Really?
of those
Like,
have been
what we were
Really
seeing,
red state.
right? Like the only
happened
state
under
that
Trump
we've
time.
seen that is purple that has like become red is Florida. Right?
Yeah,
like
that's the
we've
big
seen
one.
a lot of
I mean,
states start.
golly gee.
We've seen
Yeah.
a lot of
and
contested
Ohio.
states.
And
Ohio.
Ohio.
Ohio and Ohio and
Scott
Florida.
Pressler has
so-
his way. Pennsylvania. That guy deserves
I don't think so.
He's done good for the Republicans in Pennsylvania, but it's still going to be part of the blue wall. But again, like I don't know. I like when you ask me what is at fault here, I just can't like we can get into the gerrymander, we can get into it's just the problem is that we have a wild card for president. As KOE Nation put, he's a populist, right? He's a right-wing socialist.
Yeah, but we got to start coming for
but he's
after
a-
Trump. Like, I think that's like something that people aren't really factoring in, right? Like, this is
What's that?
Like, I think that people aren't factoring in this. Like, Trump, like, I think Republicans are
Nah,
factoring
bro,
in.
Project 2029.
But no, hold on. I think that there are people to factoring like Trump. Like Abbott just filed in Texas, right? Like, we got it passed. He pushed it through. He literally is like, and this is kind of sounds stupid on its surface, but I already can see the campaign slogan: Texas, you're required to be a citizen to vote in Texas elections, right? This is like he's branding. He's already pushing the branding. There are Republicans that are looking now past Trump, right? And I think with the midterms coming up, if they get the redistricting done, they can secure an advantage in perpetuity, like for a extended period of time. And I think that the Trumpian movement, he's a wild card, but I think that that might even help some of these guys later have their own brand because they can be like, hey, well, I'm Trump on this, but not on these things.
Well, look at this, right? Like here's how I feel.
I feel pretty confident going
when it
forward for the
comes
next
to Trump,
20 years
what I've seen in terms of Trump's engagement in seats, for whatever fucking reason, I guess it's the Epstein files and his relationship with Israel, but he has spent so much energy promising that he is going to stop Thomas Massey and Rand Paul in Kentucky, and I wonder if that behavior, that anti-American and anti-liberty socialist behavior of Trump, the big piece of shit that he is going to be really damaging for the Republicans.
What's the matter with you, Kentucky?
Right, like I'm like, how much time and energy is he going to spend using his voice to talk about how much he hates Rand Paul and Thomas Massey and how much he hates whatever Republicans break with him, instead of actually like trying to win contested, difficult seats where Republicans are up against Democrats and it's a coin flip, right?
But it's even more than that, though, right? Like, so you brought up an interesting point talking about, was it Earl Sears? I believe her name was
Earl Winsome
in
Sears.
Virginia.
It's like a hyphenated name, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much. That he didn't, despite her riding him, he ignored her. Right?
Yeah, she ran on the MAGA ticket, and then he didn't have shit to give.
But here's what he was doing the entire time, and still continues to do. He was talking about the fucking ballroom. He was talking about the ballroom. I mean,
it's important to note the most MAGA candidate in this last election was Earl Winsome Sears. It's not even close. Like, she basically married herself to MAGA. And despite this massive controversy that occurred in Virginia, right, with Jay Jones won by 5.2 points, and Abigail Spanberger won by over 15 points. So the person that ran on, if you like Trump, vote for me, lost by 15 points. And so that attitude continues into Abigail Spanberger,
there is only a limited amount of money to
CIA
spend.
spook. Okay, she's not a communist in the
not
sense that like
Mamdani,
Zoran
I
is.
can assure you.
She is a DNC shill through and through. The only
Mhm.
progressive thing about her is that she wants fucking trans people in bathrooms and like trans people on like women's sports teams. Everything else about her is standard Democratic fucking like DNC pro corporate, cocksucking the billionaires that actually support
Yeah,
Democrats.
but KOE's right. There's only a limited amount of money to spend, and you have to choose your battles. And why would you pick it on this one when the midterms are next? Like that's the one that's the
now.
fight.
Hold on, pause. He's a little bit. He's right, but he's a little wrong here. And the reason he's a little wrong is that Democrat billionaire donor class spends a lot of money in Virginia in off-year elections because Nova is there. So every Democrat that works in Washington, D.C. wants to make sure that Virginia, because that's where they live when they live in Loudoun County or in in Alexandria or all these other places, they don't want to live in fucking
Norfolk,
Maryland,
Virginia,
Northern Virginia, yeah.
Northern,
Norfolk is on the coast, right? So every government contractor, every corporate lawyer, every lobbyist, every person that works at the Pentagon, every person that works in DC at high levels of government lives in Northern Virginia. And so they spend a lot of money in Virginia elections to make sure that the governorship, which is New Jersey and Virginia in the off-year election, goes towards, and the same thing is true of New Jersey, because all the people that work in the financial districts in New York that live in Jersey want to make sure that there's a Democrat in charge there. So it's like they did outspend, but that's really normal.
I want to finish.
Dems also have more money. I mean, they like wildly outspent in 2024.
Yeah, Wall Street supports the Democrat Party, not the Republicans.
Well, I mean, of course, because the Democrats have sold out their corporate.
Unless you're fucking Peter Thiel and Palantir or some shit.
Yeah, the Democrats have done a better job sucking the cock of corporations than Republicans in recent years. Absolutely, 100%. But the point that I was trying to make about Donald Trump, and I know I'm going to get some disagreement on this, is that he's checked out. He's been checked out for a long time.
Yeah.
I think tired. Stephen Miller.
He's old.
Indeed, right? Stephen Miller is running.
Same difference.
A big part
that
of
auto
it,
pen's about to come in
was
hard.
The other one I was going to get. It's Stephen Miller, but there's also I'm missing someone. It's coming. Sorry, what?
It's Vance. Vance is doing all the messaging of the Trump administration.
This is just
Stephen Miller, sure, but to like the American people.
No, I want to hear Prime finish. I'm ready. I'm ready to hear this. Keep going.
Sure. I'm forgetting the other member of his cabinet. I think it was of his cabinet. That's also taking a large hand in running this. And I'm sorry, it's blanking my mind. Stephen Miller, though, in terms of domestic issues, I think he's in charge. Shadow president. Russ Vogt, right? Is also deeply in charge, with the mechanics of the government and how that's operating. That's just like Russ Vogt's operation, right? And so I don't see.
Yeah, but he has the boring job.
Is this just going to be?
But it's far more consequential. I think
he has the active job, but in terms of communication, it's Stephen Miller and Vance.
Is this just an active accusation for everybody, going forward? It's the shadow government.
I think it's the case. I think it's the case for Biden. Absolutely. Biden's just as old, right? But I don't think it was the case for Trump one, right, for his first presidency. And I don't think it was the case for Obama. So I mean, I can't say who the next person is going to be, but I think there's a very good chance that they'll actually be involved in the presidency. I think right now, Donald Trump has checked out this. His obsession with the ballroom is a perfect example of that. But I think the entire time he hasn't actually been asserting himself. He does so in front of the cameras, right? And he was certainly tweeting, sending out truth socials or whatever the fuck, right? But he's not actually.
He's not hopping on a fucking plane because elections are occurring and making sure he's hitting every single place and campaigning and doing a bunch of speeches with them like he was.
He is more interject than Biden, but Gibbs, he is slowed down. He has slowed down.
God. All right.
Do you disagree?
I
slow down a little bit.
I disagree. Well, I mean, since the fucking first 100 days,
healthiest Trump has ever been right now, man.
No, okay.
It's the healthiest he's ever been. Hold on, boys.
Hold on. let's the first complaint that everybody had when Trump got elected this time was, oh my God, he is spamming Like, if this was Halo, he had the assault rifle and he was spraying and praying because it was all these different executive orders. It was record numbers of executive orders. Holy Jesus, the Lord came
they had
down
that
from
ready at the start, though.
It was raining executive orders, brothers and sisters in Christ.
It's irrelevant.
Gibbs,
Yeah, no, it is relevant.
Sitting down signing.
Hold on. It is relevant because he pushed them.
Dude asks what every fucking EO he's signing is in front of the camera. He's like, what am I signing again?
Would you rather he doesn't?
Of course, because they're going, hey, which one's this? Okay, bet. Just remind me what we got on the schedule today, bet. And he's doing it. Like, y'all are acting like this isn't.
Oh, the energy.
Hold on.
What am I signing?
Hold on.
Hell yeah.
I do that with my, like, if someone sends me an email, I have to tell my call them, I go, what did you send me? Oh, okay, cool. Everybody does that. I don't know, like, acting like this is not a normal thing for people that deal with a million different things a day. Like,
Gibbs,
you're just wrong.
President of the United States.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit.
There's not enough McDonald's in the world to make that man as energetic as he was in 2016.
Hold on, I'm just saying,
he's
coming in here, and he spammed all these executive orders. Then they've had pushback.
Yeah,
and we've had hold on, I know this is hostile territory. Hold on, I'm not going to be bamming y'all for over talking, but I am going to finish. First he spammed all these 100 orders, right? 1,000 orders, million orders. It was a ton of them, right? Then he comes in here and there's, negotiations with, peace deals there, peace deals here. He's got trade deals. And some people like, it's not enough. He posts other people. Hold on, he one of these other things. He's making deals I don't even like sometimes. Like maybe this Argentina beat. But he's doing fucking things every goddamn day. And y'all are going here going, oh, lordy, Trump is just looking so old and wrinkly. No, bitch, y'all are fucking smoking crack. This man, like, I want the bath salt y'all are on because I've never seen someone put out as much bullshit as he has, and y'all still going, you know what? It's Stephen Miller, brothers and sisters. It's the Illuminati. The lizard people are running
or it's
Trump.
His cabinet.
It's his cabinet.
Does he type his own tweets?
No, what Trump does is he delegates like any leader. What Trump does is he hires people and he delegates them.
So your whole evidence of his energy is he tweets a lot and he doesn't fucking write his own tweets.
The difference is between him and Biden.
He says to someone else.
The difference is between him and Biden. This is his agenda. This is his agenda going forward, and we see his fingerprints over everything. With Biden, it looked like his geriatric doctor's balls.
Oh, Biden was worse. Biden was way worse, of course.
Nobody's saying Biden was
I'll even go worse. We can say Cheney was more in power than Bush back then. I don't give a shit. But to say Trump's not in charge and running things now is ludicrous. It's the shadow gun. That was just not in reality.
Can I say one thing?
Anybody said. Nobody said Trump isn't in charge or that Trump isn't running things.
It's the shadow government, boys.
What he said, what Brime said, and I absolutely agree.
No, but she's not the only one saying this. There's people saying this.
Shush. And in what he said was in his first presidency from 2016 to 2020, he was active. He was out there. He was constantly campaigning.
The guy's in front of the camera every day.
Like,
he was literally just on Monday Night Football this week. He took over for announcing. He just started doing like this man is everywhere, and y'all are like, no, he's not doing. Just because you don't know what the fuck he's doing doesn't mean he's not literally out there doing some crazy bullshit every day. Like it's just
where the fuck was he in Virginia?
He was partying. He was partying. Literally,
that's
he was partying.
Give me 1 second, Gibbs. Fabian, no, actually, Trump in his acceptance speech on election night said he has done his last rally. Okay, so he's already said he's not rallying anymore because people keep shooting at him. Okay, and so like, that it's
I don't know about that, but sure.
I don't think that's the reason.
I think what he's saying he's not rallying is because he's legislating. He's being a leader.
I think it's probably his advanced age has something to do with it. I think that's a reasonable analysis.
He golfs a lot for somebody that's
look, I'm sure he golfs. I'm sorry,
he was shot at on the golf course too, motherfucker, and yet he's still doing it.
A little bit more.
I just want to say, Dick Cheney was brought up.
I don't think that's why he's saying
Florida.
He's leading now. That's not his right now rallying.
Dick Cheney was just brought up, and he just recently passed. For how
can we get a crab party?
The amount of energy that guy, like, you have to give him one thing. The amount, like, he smoked 3 packs of cigarettes a day for over 20 years. He had 5 heart attacks and a heart transplant, and he was a pretty
he survived accidentally shooting his best
all
friend,
of it.
You know?
Yeah, and he was pretty energetic despite all of that. That's impressive.
Hold on.
It's pretty impressive.
Lactoid. Never in the history of political punditry have the words Cheney and energetic ever been put in the same sentence.
That's not true.
He
ran the whole government.
No, yeah, he ran the whole government. He didn't.
He controlled all sorts of shit.
Energetically, he was famously known for just.
He had a flat effect. He had a flat effect, but in terms of his actual the shit that he did a lot, and he was he was a workhorse.
Have any of you guys seen the movie Vice? Okay, Christian Bale did an amazing job playing Dick Cheney, and
I've heard about that.
Where he goes,
it wasn't very
flattering. I feel your incriminations, and I don't care. How many terrorist attacks would you let go through to not seem like a mean and nasty fella? I will not apologize for keeping your family safe. It was my pleasure to serve you. It was fucking. It was
lied us into a war. And we paid trillions for that. But in any case, fiscal conservative at its finest. Sorry. But in any case, I think.
Did you see that Hollywood production that made sure that we glazed over the torture we did to people that weren't charged with any crimes? Wasn't that so cool, guys?
Exactly.
It was just a little bit, Scott. Come on.
And they were,
you're right. I'm sorry. They were enhanced interrogation techniques.
No, and they were forged on patents. They weren't like they were citizens or something.
Oh boy. Trump has his moments.
Oh, that was Obama who droned an American.
When there's a thing that interests him, right? Then he'll shout about it. He'll usually tweet about it or whatever, right? Dictating it to someone else to actually do the typing. But he'll make statements, right? He'll be bombastic, but he's not it doesn't seem to me that he's making demands of his staff in the same way, right? He demanded in terms of the shutdown, right? He told Republicans not to negotiate with Democrats, right? He was correct in doing that because Democrats are weak and they just fell apart. So just wait long enough and they'll do that. He told Republicans to.
Saw the picture. Sorry,
they're pussies. Yeah, they're pussies, right? But he also said, after the election loss, hey, Republicans, if the Senate's, I want you in Washington, right? Working on this because of the electoral disaster the thing that we're just talking about right now. He demanded them to do that. But other than that, right? Those were the two things he's done for this shutdown. The rest of the time has been the ballroom. Right? And so and that was also the time of the last run of the election. That's what he was doing. And this is just continues a pattern with him.
He gave lip service to soy farmers that he would get something done, but then didn't do anything.
But then didn't exactly. And oh my God. And then Scott's correct, right? In terms of the executive orders, those executive orders were prepared by the Heritage Foundation, by his transition team, working with the Heritage Foundation. Those were all ready to go. They told us about these things beforehand, right? That day one, Trump is going to have a whole bunch of executive orders.
So you're saying he was prepared? He was prepared.
But he had no idea what they were. Now, I'm not saying you can't.
No idea. They were just on his website.
If you just want to give him credit for, he signed it, so sure, whatever. But he had no clue.
Listen to what you're saying. Do you honestly think the president of the United States has no clue what he signed? Right now,
he's
Trump. You don't think
asking, hey, I don't know what this is. Can you tell
the last one.
What are we doing?
The last one did. Yeah, okay. Okay. This Trump has sat here. He ran on these things. These are things he's talking about. Even y'all have admitted Trump will put here an issue. He'll have an issue come up, and he'll tailor.
Did he just say that he didn't know who he was pardoning a few days ago?
No. Y'all literally just earlier in this debate today. In this state, I don't know what he said. I don't know about that, but I know earlier in this debate right here. I didn't hear that one. But it is inconvenient because I don't know. I can't talk to you about something I don't know about. But if you send me a link, I'll read over it. And we can talk about it after. I'm sure you have one. But earlier in this debate today, told me, the ACMA, it comes across as ours, right? We could maybe it can be converted into Trumpian, right? We all talked about that. That was the whole thing. So clearly, Trump is aware enough to grab onto things when they come across his table that he sees as opportunistic. And then y'all are going, oh, well, we should just assume Trump doesn't know what's happened. When y'all just admitted they had pre-prepared like 1,000 different executive orders to be signed on day one. If you're signing 1,000 orders, I think it's pretty fucking reasonable to go, hey, which one is this again? What's in this? Remind me. Oh, okay, bet. Like
that's reasonable, but it's not proof that. No, it's reasonable, but it's not proof that he's like not slowed down. Like here, he signed his name.
What did this guy have to do to prove he's not slowed down? He was just on Monday Night Football for a
He needs to not be so slowed down. Just watch him.
He was literally part
No, don't gaslight me like they did about Biden, where he was like, Biden was wandering around like a fucking Hoover, and you guys were like, oh, the Dems were like, oh my god, like you guys are totally blowing it out of proportion.
Did you watch his Monday Night Football segment? Like, what did you like? Hold on, you're trying to compare apples to oranges. Like this guy literally did play-by-play on Monday Night Football, and y'all like, nah, he's tired as fuck. And it was like coherent, like condescending, like accurate football play-by-play.
Sorry, it's just kind of tea leaf.
No, hold on.
It's tea leaf. It's wishful thinking.
Wait a minute, hold on. That's not my claim. To be clear, Gibbs, it's not my claim that like
he's Biden. I know it's not your claim.
I think it's not that like he is incapable of holding a conversation or anything like that. He's not that bad yet. I mean, his mind does wander all the fucking time. But
it's always wandering.
Yes, of course he can do that. I'm saying, hold on, to be very clear, what I've been saying is that he's checked out of the process of governing. That like he is leaving that up to his lackeys, to Stephen Miller, and to Russ Vought, right? Stephen Miller, like our immigration enforcement that's happening right now, that's all him. This is his dream.
Why is he focused on the ballroom?
He's the one who's running it.
Why? So I think maybe okay. All right. I see where the difference is between what like they're saying with the he slowed down and what you're saying with checked out. Okay, let me just engage that real quick. Why? Like in my mind, Trump is very big on. I'm sorry, I think he's on my mind. He's very big on symbols. Like he wants to bring America back. He wants like that old, like almost like Pax Romana energy, like where there's symbols, and some people like that. The ballroom, I think, is the epitome of that legislation to him. Like, right? He wants something that's gilded in gold, that's going to be one, his legacy, and two, he wants it to like push forward this idea of America the Great. When people come to America, he wants them to be like awestruck, like, oh shit, they're fucking, over the top, they're whatever. And so when you're saying, yeah, he's focused on this. Yeah, because I think it's maybe like a major focus point of his whole cultural shift that he's pushing. Like, and that's why I'm maybe not as sold on that.
I just listened to part of the speech. He was not super energetic in that speech.
To talk about the ballroom. I actually.
Oh my god!
Yesterday.
I actually agree. I actually agree with you, Gibbs. Right in this term of why he's focused on the ballroom. Right, like it is actually kind of. It's almost strange that America doesn't have a White House ballroom, because that is a super common thing amongst amongst all of Europe and amongst most Western countries, that you have these ballrooms for hosting events and foreign dignitaries and things of that nature. The thing though that I guess maybe it's the libertarian in me, that dislikes it to such a degree, is that kind of there was a reason for that. Right? Like Thomas Jefferson would host foreign dignitaries at Monticello in his bathrobe, right? And like he would intentionally not dress up, because the entire concept of America is we don't have kings. We don't do these big events, right? Like we are a government that is limited, to allow the people maximum liberty and to have the smallest government possible, and that we don't worship our leaders. Our leaders are doing a service to the people by being president that is actually negatively impacting their life. That they're taking on this stress and they're not gaining financial gain because they're not a king, they're not a monarch. What they are is they're just a citizen like the rest of us, doing a duty towards this incredibly limited government. And I think what has occurred over the last over the hundreds of years of our history is that we have become more like the other nations. We have ballooned the size of the government. We have made the government enacted in every part of our lives, and we have lost what is that American heritage, that we don't have kings. And to some degree, to the left's point, symbolically, not to any of their arguments because they're all fucking retards, but to the no kings kind of protest era, is that like Trump is fighting back against the very spirit and the very idea of America.
No, it's the cowboy. Like, okay, you have to admit countries evolve. Right, so yeah,
ballrooms are not cowboy places.
Hold on. Actually, they are. And I'll explain this, real. So when you sit here, you go, oh, yeah, he's clearly never been to the honky tonk, the ballroom. They literally call them ballrooms. That's what they're called. So like, we have the hard. Anyway, sorry, we're gonna get you off tangent. But when my point is, when you're sitting here, you go, hey, Thomas Jefferson wanted us to be different. Okay, well, we evolved. We had the cowboy era, and that's an era that people identify America with, and it's become part of the national identity, which is over-the-top bullshit. And then especially, I know because I'm a Texan, we're always way more over the top. We're always more of a bros. We like to be more outlandish. And, like, I know I identify more with that than some of the people here. But, like, this is part of it, is, okay, every other country does have a ballroom.
I'm verbose and over the top.
I know,
I'm with you.
But every other country's got a ballroom. Hey, guess what? The taxpayers aren't going to pay for this. We're big swinging dick President Trump. We want a cultural shift. All we have is the best goddamn ballroom in the world, and every other country.
We're agreeing.
No, I know we agree.
You and I are agreeing 100% here. I think we're just agreeing on whether or not that's a good thing.
Yeah,
right? I agree with you 100%. Like I said before Trump got elected for this second term, that the best way to view this presidency, and I still stand by this thus far, is that what Trump is predominantly doing is moving us away from a global empire and moving us towards what he thinks might be the Pax Americana of going back towards an American empire, right? That's why he talks about Greenland. That's why he's focusing on like Argentina and like other South American countries. That's why he's talking shit with Stephen Miller. Maybe we'll fucking bomb Venezuela if they don't want to fucking behave. Is because he's recognizing that there is that we are stretched too thin to fucking deal with Africa's bullshit and the Middle East's bullshit, and that we need an American empire. And part of that is the ball. Part of that is the symbology of like changing it back towards a more insular nationalistic place. I just think that he is losing that energy, and
so we need a bigger ballroom because any head of state that comes here, they're going to have a massive entourage now compared to just 100 or 120 years ago. So a bigger ballroom makes sense. Just on a purely utilitarian, I get the big idea you're trying to sell here. But I think there's also just the very real idea of that, we have more people that come with heads of state.
But he's already done the symbolism stuff. But he redid like the Lincoln bedroom. If you look at his like big rallies, they're literally like Super Bowl events. Like they're like college bowl games. They're more like that than they are political rally. His whole thing is symbolism.
UFC on the White House.
UFC on the White House lawn. How based is that?
Yes,
Kaylee. So, I have, and I said this last week, I think, to Gibbs, but I supported the ballroom. When it first came, like, oh, okay, you're gonna add a ballroom, like, oh, I thought we had one of those in the White House. We don't,
right?
Okay.
We don't.
Yeah, I thought we did.
Cultural
but we don't. It's like, okay, yeah, sure, add that, right? What I think I didn't support is him lying about like whether it was going to touch the rest of the White House, him demolishing the East Wing, without like going through the proper process, right? That shit I can't stand. And he definitely did lie to the American
connection
people.
To the East
Wing,
let me tell you.
But it doesn't. But that part doesn't matter to my point, right? I talked about him being checked out, and then his focus being on this ball, checked out from governing. Look, like you can create a construction project, and he has people that can handle it, right? Like this ballroom doesn't require presidential level attention. It's like there's so many other things that his attention should be on, right? But it's like firmly on this ballroom project. Right. And that, again, is an example of him being checked out. Like you talking about how much his ballroom has symbolism, right? And some utility doesn't change my point.
I mean, he just beat the government shutdown during this panel. I mean, I don't know what you want. What more do you want, man? In real time, he's actually undoing the bad.
That was him.
Hold on, if it's a major focus, I don't know.
He flew
it's like I'll ask a question, right? And I'll be the one here to make it about Israel Palestine and not about fucking
I'll be the one doing it.
No, it's like what I see all the time is I see like Republicans and they're like, oh man, he got this, he's got this ceasefire done, and potentially this deal which we've talked about on stream that may be well, we'll see, right? I cannot listen to another Republican tell me with a straight face that Biden or Kamala wouldn't eventually have gotten a similar fucking deal done in the amount of time it took Trump to do it. It took him a fucking year. Okay, like it wasn't this bullshit. Like day one, I'm gonna get Russia to stop, and I'm gonna get peace in Israel Palestine. This is.
I mean, they didn't though.
I mean, he claimed that it would, right? Which was another one of his lies. But we get it's a bombastic
all politicians
character.
Use hyperbole, so hyperbole's fine. That doesn't matter.
Right. But I cannot listen to another conservative claim that like Kamala wouldn't have fucking gotten that done too.
I don't think you're right on this one, Scott.
You're wrong on that.
I think the Democrats have really morphed into this sort of like globalist neo-hawk, like neo-lib war hawk kind of mentality, where they're going to say a lot of the same. They're going to, yes, we got to fund Ukraine till the end. We got to give them more, right? I think you really do need to see a Trump-like character to say no.
There's barely what has he done in the Ukraine situation?
Well, hold on.
Hold on. They're in terms of funding. Okay. Which is massive. We were at $200 billion, just under $200 billion under Biden, and that number has really not moved much now under Trump, right? We're talking about basically the Lend-Lease Act, like accounting for inflation, the same amount as the Lend-Lease Act during World War II to the Soviet Union. We're talking about that under the presidency of Joe Biden, right? Like 2 years of Joe Biden. And Trump has totally not gone along with that. So I really don't think Kamala would have made ground on that. When it comes to Israel, Gaza,
I don't think she would have made ground on Ukraine, Russia. Neither has Trump, other than stop.
She would have dropped literal cash on Ukraine.
Well, I think that actually.
If we switch Kamala and Trump, I mean, if you're assuming we also switch the power and control of the Congress and Senate, I'll agree with you, right? Like I'm talking.
What I'm saying is, I think funding Ukraine keeps that war going. Is what I'm saying. I think that the actions of Trump here has been much better than I think what the alternative would have been had Kamala won. And when it comes to Israel, Gaza,
but again,
I don't know that peace
situation I was describing.
Yeah, but that peace proposal, like the 22 points or whatever, very reasonable. I was actually very surprised to see that, and I think that.
But
that's not
okay. But he was comfortable putting his name on it in a way that I think maybe Kamala would have potentially backed a plan that the Israelis wouldn't have got behind. That's possible.
You think so?
It's possible. Yeah, it's possible, right? Because I mean, look at what is the major base?
She was so afraid of being seen as anti-Israel that she would shut down every single fucking interview question and kick out protesters. And so the same fucking elite people that are working at the highest levels of government office with corporations and things would have been putting forward the same deals. Trump had, I'm sorry, but if you switch Trump and Kamala, it probably is the same fucking deal. I just don't see the energy that was there in 2016 in any way, shape, or form that we see today. What I see is him fumbling on a bunch of his socialist policies and attacking conservatives.
Let's not get off too off topic. I think in Ukraine, Trump is much better than Biden, and
I'll agree with that.
Presumably better than Kamala. When it comes to on Gaza. You could be right. Perhaps it is the case that Kamala would have presented a substantially similar bill or a proposal that would have been accepted, etc. I am a little bit skeptical, especially seeing how much the Democratic base has moved on this issue, where the Republicans are still pretty split, and so the proposal I think that Trump put forward is very reasonable in line with that. I don't know if it's very possible that
you might be right, because when we look at Zoran's race, right?
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly, yeah.
Let's be honest. This was about Israel in a lot of ways. That was a large part of the vote. Now, obviously, people claim that it's economic, but the thing is that they went towards more socialism. They rejected Cuomo twice, right? Like no, Siwa never really had a chance. But they rejected Cuomo twice, and they rejected Cuomo twice because Cuomo was the status quo. But also, when we look at the voter turnout of young women specifically, it was like 88% for Zoran, and that's including Cuomo and Siwa. Sorry, I can never fucking pronounce his name right. And I genuinely think the moment, at least to me, like there is that moment, that debate moment where it's like, oh fuck, this guy's gonna win. And the moment where I saw it and I was like, oh fuck, Zoran's gonna win. We're gonna have the once great capitalist city of America, the city upon a hill where the New York Stock Exchange is, turn into a socialist fucking hellscape. Right?
And the NASDAQ.
It was when they had the Democratic primary and they asked everyone where would be the first foreign visit that you would visit. And every single person was like, I would go to Israel. You know, the Jews need to see our solidarity. And they went down the fucking line. And then they got to Zoran and he was like, I'd stay in New York and focus on New York issues. If you want me to talk to the Jews, I'll go to the synagogues. I'll go to wherever they are because they're New Yorkers. And it was the most politician crafted perfect answer. And then Cuomo was like, see, he won't even support a nation state of Israel as a Jewish state. And he's like, I believe that people have the right towards a state that represents their issues. And he's like, but you won't say a Jewish state. And it's like, you're grilling him, the supposed New York City mayor candidate, on Israel and whether or not he supports an ethno state. And you're trying to shame him because he says that Israel should be, because he believes in a 2-state solution, but it's not a 2-state ethno state solution. Right. Like that was a large part of that. And I think that's a large reason why the more conservative, populist, fascistic right Trump is out of control of that element of the party. And the reason he's out of control of that element of the party is because completely fucking cucked to Israel, and he's completely fucking cucked to these boring ass issues. And you have people like Nick Fuentes, kind of the major name that is like, fuck Israel, fuck AIPAC, fuck these people in our politics. And meanwhile, you have libertarians like fucking Rand Paul and Thomas Massey, who Thomas Massey put in a bill for 11 years straight, that says you need to declare if you have dual citizenship. Trump attacked Thomas Massey on that. Then Rick Scott is like, I'm going to fucking put something forward. And he's like, you're the greatest person ever for putting this thing that Thomas Massey's been putting forward. Because it's a fucking shit show. Trump doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't know what his policies are. Better at branding, he's losing his fucking brand. The right wing is losing. He's losing the right wing.
Hold on. Throughout history of
because he's cucked. Hold on. Gen Z men supported Trump heavily, and now he's got high disapproval with Gen Z men. But it's not because they've gone Democrat. It's because he's not gone far enough. Because he hasn't done shit on immigration as far as they're concerned, and because he's cucked to Israel, and because he's not because he's not been.
That's one thing I will agree. Well, not that last part, but I would agree that Trump hasn't gone far enough on a lot of things people voted for him on, and so that is a problem. But
and because he's incompetent.
Well, hold on. That's actually
he's one of the most incompetent socialist presidents we've ever had. He's FDR without the fucking competency of FDR. That's what Trump is.
No. I think
doesn't even know how to fucking manage.
Not so far enough is absolutely. Yeah, I think.
Made himself leader of the free world.
Oh yeah.
The guy's a wee bit crafty, and he's way craftier than you, Fabian. I'm sorry.
Yeah. The guy that got a couple $1 million from his daddy, and then went into real estate in New York and Atlantic City, where the fucking mob is. Yeah, the guy who uses mob connections and his millionaire daddy.
Lack of humility.
Allegedly, Trump. Don't sue us.
In your mind, you actually think you're more clever than Trump. I bet in your mind you actually think that.
Well, hold on. I
think the average Walmart American is more clever than Trump.
Okay, well,
and I think the average Walmart American is retarded.
I do agree with the not go far enough thing, and that's actually what gives me hope for the Republican Party, because I think that Republicans actually are in like solidarity on like, hey, shit's not gone far enough. So that's why I'm pretty confident about these elections going forward, because I think we're going to get more and more righties. And I think Trump's opened up the floodgates to actually get some real change in this country. And that's exciting. I think that's what's really
you might be right on that. You might be right on that Trump being a bull in a china shop has reinvigorated and kind of like kicked up all the dust in the right that was kind of slowly dying. Mm-hmm. But the problem is that the ascendant right are all socialists. Like the ascendant right are pro tariff, pro like IVF, pro like funding. They want more government funding. They want more. They want more deportations. They want bigger. You know what? The right of today wants bigger, better government.
Hold on. Like so every group is factionalized. Like Republicans aren't a monolith, the Dems aren't a monolith, right? But like right now, the right, like blanket term, is ascendant. Like, okay, libertarians are ascendant in Argentina, right? Libertarians are doing good here in some states, right? You know, like Texas nationalists are like rising in Texas is like the Republican Party. We're seeing like national candidates like all around. We have evangelicals. Like, yeah, that's the problem. Is all these groups are gaining like power. And they're all seeing like the cultural shift in their way. And I think that I think that the analogy is very accurate with kicking up the dust. But I think that, you know, maybe if they do lose midterms, I think you're going to see maybe the biggest shift in towards republicanism ever in the next election. Like, I just don't see this train stopping. It's because it's such, like, when's the last time that people switch parties?
What will that Republican Party look like? I agree with you.
That's a different question.
I agree with you.
That's a different question.
Like, I absolutely agree with you. I just don't think we're going to see Republican. It'll be Rhino. It'll be Republican,
whatever the new Republican is. Yeah.
Right. The new right
is the way that the political parties actually try to sell themselves. The Republican Party is a much more masculine party. Self-defense, Second Amendment rights, national security, border
some of those
security.
Things aren't changing.
All of those things are very masculine.
None of that ninny stuff, right?
Their children.
Very red pill boys. Very anti-matrix.
100% all-American beef.
That's right. Only American beef.
Yeah, and so it's the way the party's actually
Argentine or lab grown. Also,
no fucking lab grown beef either.
I don't disagree that whatever the right is, right wing, insofar as it is order based politics, insofar as it is, more national, insofar as it is more focused on human teleology and more focused on those things, those categories that we would consider to be right wing. I don't disagree that is going to be more masculine because leftist philosophy is the female mindset applied to politics. That's what it is, right? It's about equity and empathy, right? Like, and things of that nature.
Mothers are much more egalitarian. Fathers are much more meritocratic.
But like, what does that mean? How does that help us?
Stop talking for a second. Lacto's going to leave. And before he does, I got something to say to him. I meant to do this previously, but Lactoid, I challenge you to a debate.
TCS.
TCS. Yeah, there we go.
So I challenge you to a debate on Elon Musk and whether he's a fucking fraud. So
yes,
I would love to host that in the DCS.
Hang on. This part's important. So I had been hinting at this previously, but like my chosen form was not available. But like apparently it just became available. So I wanted to do this on Modern Day Debates, but like, he was doing his regular thing, right? He hit me up a few weeks ago, like 2 weeks ago or something, and he was like, "Hey, like I know you wanted to do something different, right? I'm open to it now. Get at me." But I didn't know what I was going to do it on, and then I remembered, oh yeah, I've been hinting at this debate for a long time. So
you better DM him a lot and annoy him, because James will like do that and then never get back to you.
But then never. So yeah, I'm gonna.
You know who will get back to you? This guy.
You.
Big question.
You accept Lactoid?
Yeah, I accept. We'll just define a time that works for me. But yeah, I accept.
Yes, yeah, sure. I'll say like we should do like a month out or something. Give you plenty of time to research and stuff. Okay, just wanted to
as part of your research
shout out
for both of you. Just know that the person that Trump didn't know who he was pardoning, Xinping Zhao, is also someone that helped finance Elon Musk acquire Twitter.
Yeah.
Before going to jail for fraud. I just want to throw that one out there. You both can use that to your advantage or disadvantage.
Pardoned now.
Thank you very much.
Pardoned now, yeah.
I know you had to leave, but thank you so much, Lactoid. Really appreciate you, friend.
Thanks, guys.
I also have to leave. Y'all be good.
Just wrap up.
Yeah,
okay.
Wrap up. Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. Well, everyone, thanks for being here. Much appreciated. This was a lot of fun. I hopefully we can have Phil KOE back. I really miss you, friend. I know you like harvest season, and I always forget. Like, it's like I know you go out of harvest season at some point, but I forget when that is. That's the only reason I hadn't reached out to you previously, because it's like hard for me to know like when
yeah,
exactly.
Those city folk out of touch with the hardened soil of America.
I will accept the blame there totally. But like KOE, like I love having you on. I really do miss you, friend. And so hopefully we can have you again in the following weeks.
Love to. God bless, sir.
Yeah. All right. Thanks all for being here. So thank you, Scott. Thank you, Gibbs. Thank you, Corey. Thank you, Ali. I'll let it end here. Corey, stick around for a bit, but like, yeah. But I'll end the stream. Have a good one. I don't know who I'm going to raid. I haven't even decided that yet. But is there a hot girl on the top of my list here? This is a girl, so I don't know. I'll send you here. Whatever.
Is it? You've only got a couple of months before AI is at a point where you're not going to know if you're rating a girl or not.